a big deal, I get it.
Place over.
You missed some good road though.
Yeah, I'm sure it was good. It did.
Good work.
But I have this my little buddy.
And, be happy. What you doing? Can't do that never.
The time is now 6 p.m. The date is August 4th, 2020. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Williston City Council. Mrs. Wright, will you do a roll call, please?
Mayor Robinson.
Here.
President Goodman.
I am here.
Vice President Head.
Here.
Councilmember Jones. Here. Councilmember Robinson. Here. Councilmember Ross.
Present, proud to be here.
Interim City Manager Gross.
Here.
City Attorney Brett Hoagland.
Here.
And City Clerk Patricia Wright here.
Thank you very much. We'll now go with the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag which I will lead. Lord, we come to you today. Lord, we ask for your guidance in all the decisions that we must make for the citizen. And Lord, we ask you to be with the first responders and all those in harm's way by the tragic events that are overwhelming our country. Lord, we just ask you to be with us individually and collectively, and to guide us in all we say, and Lord, to guide us in what we do, because our words, Lord, we know has consequences. We thank you for being with us and giving us the strength to carry on in difficult times. And we ask all this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Before we get started, I would like to thank everybody for their prayers and cards and letters and the beautiful floral arrangement that was sent up to the health center while I was in there. Thank you all very much. I do appreciate it.
Item number 1, additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda. Any member of the council have any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda? Yes. Okay, I just have one. It is a matter of the city clerk's mistake, which we can always forgive her. It says here, it says interim city manager, but when I look up there on, I don't see anything interim up on that board. So
It will
I don't know how
be
this
corrected
is.
tonight.
Pardon me?
It will be corrected tonight.
Well, I just need to make that correction.
But it still needs to be interim.
Okay, I've made my statement. I'm looking at the board.
It's wrong.
You're the city manager, you put that board up there.
No, the city clerk did, and it was interim earlier today. I checked it. We have a vandal.
Moving ahead.
I'm gonna get the police department to investigate.
Okay, hearing no other changes to the agenda, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as it is presented? So moved. Have a motion by Vice President Head and a second by Councilor Jones. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let the record show that all members of the council approve the agenda as it is presented. Item number 2. This is the public's first time of the evening, there will be 2, to address the council about anything that is not on the agenda. We ask that you do not address things that are on the agenda because they will be covered later. I will point out that we do have a policy that it is 5 minutes for public participation of things not on the agenda. Is there anybody who would now like to address the council about anything? Mr. Carson, is there anybody in the hall?
No, sir.
Aaron, is there anybody online?
2 people, anyone online need to speak, speak now.
Okay. Hearing no public participation, we will move to item 3. Item 3 is the consent agenda. It consists of the minutes of July 21st, 2020 regular city council meeting. And that is all. Do I have a motion for consent agenda?
I have a comment about the minutes.
Yes.
Do I need to do it before or after you get a motion on it?
You need to, if it's a change from the,
Yep, on page 11, section C, it says the motion carried 3-0, but then that 3 people voted yes and 1 voted no.
Right.
So that needs to be, it needs to be 3-1, I think.
and I would be the one.
Yes, that is the motion in question. Other than that, they look great.
Have you got that correction? Okay. Do I have a motion, Counselor Jones, with your corrected agenda?
I move we
Consent.
accept the consent agenda as amended.
Okay. All those in favor? Oh, I have a,
Second.
thank you. I have a motion by Counselor Jones, a second by Counselor Robinson. All those in favor signify by saying aye of accepting it as amended. Aye. Let it be written in the record that all members of the council accepted the consent agenda as amended. We will now move to old business. Item A, staff and board and councilor updates. We will start with city manager Dennis Gross.
Interim city manager. The, one thing I'd like for permission from the council to move forward to advertise the HR vacancy. I think it's a position we really need to get filled and get filled pretty quick. When, our last one left, Brooke Willis graciously stepped up to kind of fill the void because we're in the middle of open enrollment. So she's doing triple duty, if you will, now. She's got police, fire, and HR. And I realize that we're probably be hiring the city manager within the next week or so. So we need to move forward with this, at least have, some applicants that, are qualified candidates that he or she can look at, rather than just drag this out. So with permission of council, I'd like to move forward with advertising that position.
I would agree with that, because it looks at this point like it could be November to maybe even March of next year before we finally get a city manager.
You need to find an interim too. But I'd really like to move forward.
Okay, but we hear your request. Does any council member have any objection to if the city manager goes out and looks for, pardon me?
Interim.
Oh, I'm sorry. If he goes out and tries to begin the process for getting a HR representative. Anybody have any objection? It's in his job anyway. As the permanent city manager, yes.
Temporary.
I just need to let everybody know I have to post it internal first.
Say it again.
I have to post it internal first before I do external.
So it could be months and months and
No,
months
just for a week.
before he ever gets around to it.
Oh, no, not his position for
Oh,
HR.
That way,
Okay.
we go move forward with the process.
Yes.
Yeah,
And,
we
find
can
the
move forward with the
qualified person
process.
possible.
Update on water meter supply to the Williston Area Community Resource Organization. I am not stealing your thunder, Mr. Zamaski. Please go right ahead.
Can I add one more thing?
You may.
Okay, this kind of good news is that the, several of the city hall employees, city clerks been really involved, some of the front desk ladies, and the police department has joined with several community groups, we saw some of the other groups, for the backpack giveaway this weekend. They've really gone over and above, and we hope to give away 500, how many?
It's a little over 500, I believe,
A
at this
little over
point.
500 backpacks,
Nice.
Saturday afternoon.
And you can see what we
Yeah.
have already purchased is my community room.
And they're not through purchasing, matter of fact,
I found
Captain
it.
Courtney
Yeah.
and, administrative assistant, fire, police, and HR director, Britt Willis, went to Walmart Chiefland and locked down the cash register because he has, the purchase was so big. And had used two cash registers at, a super phenomenal, event, and I think it's just gonna do anything to get bigger. They were kinda short on some funds for backpacks, and that's when we found out we had $1,000 that was not used for the summer camp, so we diverted that money, and Mr. Bloom said we could, for the purchase of some of the backpacks. That was a more durable backpack that will last the school year. And that's all I got.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Now, Mr. Zabowski.
Evening. After the prior council meeting and the request by the Williston Area Community Resource Organization for the water meter, which the city council is unable to help with due to certain circumstances, several of the attendees of the meeting decided they were going to raise some money to maybe fund part of this project. The next day, I contacted one of our distributors, which we purchased the water meters from for the city, and asked them if they'd be interested in assisting in this in any way, maybe a discount or something like that. Jeff Kimbrough of Sun State Meter Company out of Jonesville stated that we couldn't have asked at a better time, but he happened to have a 2-inch water meter that was sent to him as a demo that the company, the manufacturer, did not want back. So they agreed to donate that, along with the meter connections, meter spuds, we call them, that connect the meter to the pipe, 2-inch gate valve, and I believe that the city currently has some pipe that was used for a bypass line. It takes a very small piece of that, that would normally have been thrown away, that can be used for that. So aside from very, very minor things, we have almost all the materials we need for that project, in large part by Sun State Meter Company.
Perfect. Yay, thank you. Thank you for your effort. Thank you.
So when can we expect the meter to go in?
I am meeting with Mr. Kimbrough Thursday of this week. He wants to come out and make sure that we have everything that we're going to need to do the job, and he will deliver most of that material that he knows we'll need on Thursday. So we should, within the next, a week or so after that, obviously we have to do locates, things of that nature, so no longer than 2 weeks after Thursday.
So certainly in time for the planting season,
Correct.
winter garden.
Do we need to see about the hookup fee?
Yes. The connection fees had been waived previously by City Manager Lippman. And that was something that was, at that point, within the purview of his duties. They can do that, they just can't give away the free water. I did respond to the group stating that, at this point, the materials and all of that would be donated, the city would install it. Per that agreement, the fees for the connection fee would be waived because that's, most of the meter cost is included in that. And then any of the monies that were raised outside of that could be used to pay essentially their water bill for a decent period of time from what I've seen that's been collected.
Perfect. They also need fencing, so they're gonna use it for that too, I think.
Correct. And I have made a request to them via email. I've not had a response back, that it would be nice to have Sun State Meter recognized on that. That's a significant contribution. All said and done, you're looking at just $2,000 of what they've already agreed to. And by the time you talk about a box to enclose that, encapsulate and all of that, and backflow preventers, we're in the vicinity of about $3,000 worth of donation.
And they are aware of it at this point?
They are aware, yes. That's all I have on that.
So this is not anything the council has to act on? This is just something that you were in charge of, seeing it get
It
done?
is just the blessing of the council for us to do the install.
Any member of this council not want to give Mr. Zamoski the blessing to do this? I'll ask it that way so I can get my way.
No.
I didn't hear anybody say no.
I heard one.
Who?
I said no to, I do not want to.
Oh, not. Don't get him in no trouble, Mr.
I knew what you meant.
One of those double negatives.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for all your efforts on their behalf, Mr. Zamoski. It was a very gracious thing that you did. Update on foreclosures by the city planner, Jackie Gorman. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, good evening, council. Still a work in progress. We're moving forward with, some of these, foreclosures, not all yet. We found one property that just recently sold again without a title search being done on it.
How can that happen?
I don't know, but what I've done is I went through and created a process with utility and building permits and flag, and we have a way now where we can flag these properties. And it wasn't several hours after I did that, somebody came in on the 118 Northeast 9th Street trying to turn on their water, and they sent this person my way so I could at least see who it is and talk to them about what happened, and they wouldn't come back. So, they wouldn't come see me. So, so now we've locked it in, because we have another one that we issued a building permit on back before I even knew foreclosures were taking place. So we're trying to work through that project too. So there's a couple of them that there's still a little housekeeping being done. The rest of them we're moving forward. It's coming down to, some money we're needing to budget. I'm gonna go on and get with Steven and see if we're looking now to move
Are
on.
you talking about budgeting for foreclosure?
Yes,
funds?
sir. We're looking at about 10,000 to start with the first 4. We're looking at about $2,300 per case to get started on these. Hoping that it, that would probably be the max for each one, provided there's no legal challenge on the other side, but, I'll get with Steve and see if I can get a budget wrangled up a little to handle these foreclosures, and we'll keep you posted as we move forward.
Yeah, this is exactly what the concern was when we started down this path, was the foreclosure gonna be more than the value of what we got for it? We'll find out.
Yes, sir. So, we're on it, and I did get an update. I thought the old Winn-Dixie property at first was being auctioned, and I found out it wasn't. And then I thought it was listed with a realtor, and I found out today it wasn't. So, I have no updates on that. I'm just trying to confirm what I hear. So we'll move on that also.
We have started foreclosure process on them, right?
We're starting the foreclosure on them.
We're starting, not we have started.
We have not started, we're starting. Because if you remember at the last meeting, we thought it was going for auction, and I got that from a reliable source. And then found out it wasn't, because I think y'all wanted to have some discussion on that, if it was going to auction. So anyway, we are where we're at, and now we're moving forward. It's just trying to get good, accurate information stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions for Mrs. Gorman? Yes, ma'am.
I do. On your page 14, you have a list, A through G, and you have an asterisk. It says consideration to move forward with foreclosure.
Right.
Wasn't this considered by the council previously? There's no consideration. We've already decided to go ahead and...
No, I'm saying actively move forward with getting started. I've got to work through some of these. I didn't have an asterisk next to Winn-Dixie, but please put one there now, because I misunderstood some legal information on that. But there are a couple, like the Felici on 415 Southeast 4th. We permitted that, to have a mobile put on it. Did not know there was, back in the 2018, that there was something happening. I don't know that you want to go forward with foreclosing on something that someone else has purchased and put a mobile on. Now, they haven't, we still have problems with it, but I'm just letting you know that there's more to the story on some of these cases than what we knew.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, on Southeast 14th then, or Southeast Fourth Drive, the one that was sold, what was the lien value on that one? And how did they get a mobile home permit issued if there was a lien value on it?
Do not know.
Because somebody had to finance that mobile home.
That was another one that was sold without title done on it, and I just found out about it. So, that's why I went through and put the process of tagging our building permit files and our utilities so that we all have the same information as we go forward.
And is there really a mobile home there, or did they just buy the permit?
It was $36,000 as of 4/23.
Okay,
Is there really a mobile home on the
Right,
lot?
and it's a mobile home on the lot,
There
has
is
not
one there.
been finalized yet, so we still are, it's a work in progress.
so what can we do
2 years ago?
to move forward?
We issued the
with that?
permit 2 years ago, and it is not yet final. Is that what you just said?
That's correct. I have building issues with it.
That's why I said, is there really a mobile home on it?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is right now, this
To
is,
go eyeball it, yeah.
it is. I think he has found out that there was a lien on it since then. This is all coming together, left hand, right hand, information being exchanged finally. So, again, we're still collecting information, we're still trying to get these files right so we can go forward and understand what we're doing as we foreclose.
But does that person that put the mobile home there, does he understand that there's a lien on it?
I believe he does, and I think that's why it's not CO'd yet. Wayne shaking his head, yes, Mr. Carroll's not coming to see me, so I've not spoken to him.
So it's 2 years old. The mobile home's been there for 2 years.
They moved it in 2018, I don't remember what month.
It has not been CO'd. How are they living in it?
They're not living in it.
Gotcha.
Mm,
So I'm assuming it's an older mobile home that has no lien on it?
Correct.
Okay.
The mobile home's fine, it's a lot that has the problem, and I guess he bought it not doing the title and found out that there were issues with that lot. so.
Is it older than we allow?
No, I mean, it's the code as far as that goes,
Okay.
it's just, we're still trying to get him to bring it into compliance.
And my comment was, I'll go back to what Councilmember Robinson said. We have already approved this. I think you actually approved it before I got here.
Right.
So then that long ago. And I think that's why we're running into all these problems, is because we didn't do what we should have done with them. And I realize it's a budgetary issue. You have to have that $2,500, $3,000 to go forward with a foreclosure. But now we've got all these complications, and the fact that the assessed fine is more than the appraised value of the property. So we've got double the problem because of it. I don't know if you want discussion at this juncture or in the next item, on additional comments that I've got to make.
Oh, let's discuss it now.
Okay. I attended the Board of Adjustments the other day, and they had a wonderful conversation about some of this. And Ms. Gorman was there. They had a great conversation. She contributed a lot to their discussion. I was thrilled to see that the attorney was there as well. Mr. Coberline was there. He advised them about some of those issues and the issues that other issues that they were talking about that day. He had great ideas. I think we should listen to, I think he should expound on them if we would allow him a few minutes, about amnesty, for the offering amnesty to some of these, and taking a percentage, setting a policy that once it reaches a percentage of the property appraiser's appraisal, that's when we go forward automatically with a foreclosure. I know we've talked about that some here since I have been here. He has some wonderful ideas. I'm sure he's done it in other cases. But the amnesty that he talked about, I think, is, at this point, rather than getting sued because it's absorbent, you know, it's more than is reasonable, and he says it has to be a reasonable amount. I think that amnesty to these people, like write them a one-time letter and give them so many days to pay a lesser amount before we foreclose at this point. Because we're liable to get challenged if we don't. I mean, that's part of what I heard. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Mr. Cumberland, but if you would like to contribute here so that everybody can hear it.
Well, I would say that I'm always in this here,
Yes, absolutely.
except for an occasional exception. And Ms. Jones' memory is better than mine, and I don't remember exactly what I said. It is recorded, but I think it's also in a memo that I sent Mr. Lippman and circulated. It was circulated back in June of last year, and it essentially mentions amnesty, providing people notice that they have a certain amount of time to get their properties in compliance, and that the lien will be forgiven if there is one. There's also what we've seen here, this time of year where we have people coming in asking for forgiveness, and we can do conditional releases, reversions, lien suspensions. In other words, you try to work things out with people. I don't remember what I told the board. I've seen things where programs where you really need to get the builders association involved or realtors association involved, so that they understand that there is a policy, so that the people might be interested in what they would otherwise think of just blighted properties that have no value. You can actually turn those into affordable housing through SHIP programs and things. And a contractor might then see some value in that property. For example, with another client, we have a contractor who is trying to pick up a few properties for $1 each, and they plan on turning those into small homes that could be bought with SHIP monies, and their plan is to make a little bit of money off of it, but the municipality will grant that property in return for $1 with some conditions on it, such as it'll be used for affordable housing or something along those lines. But the possibilities are almost endless out there. It takes some creativity. I think the comment I had on a percentage is piggybacked off of one of the council members, maybe Mr. Head or someone else made a comment about we really need a policy of a percentage, and that is so true, because the 8th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution forbids any government entity from excessive buying on property, whether that be real property or personal property. And we may see a defense along those lines at some point in the future. I cannot tell you for certain whether or not that defense would be victorious or not, but it does cost money to litigate, and you really don't want to litigate over a code enforcement lien matter if you can avoid it, because it is throwing money, good money after bad money. You've already lost a lot of money in the lien process, and the ultimate goal anyways is to get the property back into compliance and hopefully back on the ad valorem rolls, and you don't want to spend a lot of money trying to do that. So I think the item is worthy of a workshop and setting some type of policies. What I'm hearing over the past couple of months is that we went through, I think 4 foreclosures were authorized, maybe 3. It was 3 or 4 a year or 2 ago, and one of them was taken out of the pipeline for homestead reasons, and we went forward with the others. I think the litigation process, we understand it a little better from how the administration needs to focus. I think what I'm hearing at this point, as well as you all are hearing, is that there's some administrative record-keeping issues, and the pipeline in-house needs to be fine-tuned.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And I agree, we need a workshop of some kind. do it, get it together.
I had two questions, and one of them was, under recommended action, it says provided the city attorney does not see a problem moving forward, then, sounds to me like, once again, I don't wanna put words in his mouth, but Mr. Copeland is saying maybe we ought to wait until we have the workshop to figure all this stuff out? Or what are we doing with the existing ones? Cause we've talked about this, and we've talked about this 2.5 years ago. I think it was the first item that I ever dealt with whenever I got on here, so we've continued to kick this around, but we need to figure it out.
I feel like, now that we've done the title searches, and I said this last meeting, I think if we don't do something quick, we're gonna have to do another title search. Because things are changing so fast with the properties, that they're null and void, and we have to do it again, and I hate to have to pay that money again.
President Good?
Yes, sir.
I believe that was miscommunication between myself and Ms. Gorman after the last meeting. My office is moving forward with preparing complaints to file them with the courthouse. So we heard it loud and clear. We received the material 2 weeks ago. We're in the process of drafting a complaint based on the title searches.
Perfect.
We do have to discuss the one that was sold yet again with Ms. Gorman. That'll cause us some problems and to some revisions. But we plan on moving forward until we hear otherwise.
So we are moving forward.
Good. With all of them, including the Richardson property?
Forget my asterisks, we'll do all of them, provided, like I said, this has been a moving target for
I
me.
mean, Mr. Coverland's got that one going
Yeah,
too, right?
he does.
Okay,
He
good
does.
deal.
Okay, good.
I don't remember them by name. Ms.
Lynn.
Gorman can
Oh,
tell you
Lynn
which
Dixie.
ones we received.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
If we received it, it's in our pipeline in my office. I think we received 4 or 5, but
Oh, so it's not one of them
I
yet?
think I sent them all, but I'll give it Fred, we'll work.
Okay.
I'll send them all the latest changes.
I think what's going on, Ms.
Doing that.
Gorman, is we would like to get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, been trying to go in that direction, and I kept getting roadblocks one way or another, so I just wanted to make sure we weren't putting ourselves in a bad spot. Every time it's sold, or there was a permit issued or something, I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that, that's all. Hopefully, we won't have that again, so.
So not to keep dragging it out, but if we're gonna have a workshop and we're gonna talk about policies and procedures and possibly amnesty at some point for these ones that are existing, do we expect that to happen prior to these getting to that point?
It doesn't sound like it.
You can't do that, the
If they're
council's already voted to foreclose
They're
on
already
these
in the
properties.
pipeline, I guess they're done.
What we had talked about in the past, if I'm correct, sir, is that we need to get a policy. As Mr. Copeland has said, we need a policy. I don't think that plays into what we're doing right now, because it is a separate issue.
Well, I just wanted to clarify that, because once one of these gets a foreclosure notice, they may come ask for that. And that's what I'm trying to figure out timeline of where we would be.
You're getting into legal matters that I am not qualified to answer, but my understanding is we have an attorney that is working on it, who says it's in his pipeline, and we have an issue with the fact that in the past, we have not worried so much about policies, because policies are made to be broken. So we need to do it. I would suggest that perhaps now is not the best time to move forward and try to implement a policy in the midst of this, because you're going to be, people are going to, if they're in that tone, they're going to say, oh, you just made this policy after you foreclosed on it. So we're not really going to accomplish anything, I would think. So, yes, we need a policy. Yes, we need a workshop. Yes, we need a new city manager, although we have an excellent city manager. Yes, we need HR, but we just have to do it as best we can. I just think we have an excellent candidate for city manager, and I don't see any reason to rush that. Oh, never mind. Okay, so, the question is before the council, do you want to start right now and make a workshop? Vice President Head?
I would like to have a workshop this year, before the end of the year, but we've got budget workshops and other things to deal with, and I'd like to get a city manager on board. to
That's
maybe
what I was
help us on
thinking,
these
added
decisions.
budget.
Full-time, permanent city manager.
After we get our,
The real thing.
Once we
The
get through the
real
budget
city
workshop and
manager.
get somebody hired, I think we need to do this before the end of the year.
I agree.
I agree.
And you're thinking December into the year, not
I'm thinking
Yeah,
September,
calendar
not
year.
September 30th.
2022.
Or January or February.
Okay, so you're not recommending a budget a workshop for this particular item at this particular time?
No.
Anybody?
No.
Okay, so we would like to get, as the attorney has suggested, and we have known for some time, that we have a problem, and we need to find ways to fix it. And hopefully, we will find the time to do that. Any other discussion on item B?
No, sir, I will, forego item B, for the, I didn't know the other was on the agenda when I added item B. And as long as item B is one of the ones that's been sent to Mr. Coberline, I would like them to make sure of that, if not, that it
Would
gets
somebody
added.
please inform the counselor that it is in fact on the list of the things?
It's not got an asterisk, so
It
I
is,
wasn't sure.
it's,
I will validate
Doesn't
that he
have
has
an-
every one of them, I'll verify it,
Okay.
it'll be
Okay.
done.
Then I'm good with that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on, item C, discussion with possible action.
There you go.
Possible action, I gotta find my list. Oh, Lord have mercy.
I brought
Okay.
every one of them this time.
I am not going there.
I didn't bring them up.
Okay, discussion with possible action. On city manager selection. There we are. Okay, we have presented a compilation by all the council members, and I'm going to point out two things about this. One person had 5 votes. Anybody think that the one person with 5 votes isn't a candidate to be interviewed?
He definitely is.
Oh, he is.
Okay. So we have one person we would like to interview. And since we have done this,
Well, they all have, oh, well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
thank you. Mr. Copeland, it is not a violation of any ethics for me to announce a person's name that has had 5, is it? Thank you. The person's name is Andrew Hyatt, H-Y-A-T-T. He received 5 favorable reviews by the council, and we would like to begin the process of creating an interview, Mrs. Wright, with this person. I'm not sure, does anybody know where he lives?
Ponte Vedra. Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida.
Okay. So he is reasonably close. Sure. He's not in Minnesota or some of the other places.
He's in Florida.
So, Mrs. Wright, the council would like you to contact him and set up a time for an interview if he's still interested in the position. One thing at a time. You got that? Okay, yes, ma'am.
I want to interview the whole top 7.
Well, that's fine, but let's take them one at a time.
We can set them all up at once, though.
Are you talking about the ones with 3 votes?
Yeah, all the rest got 3 votes.
Okay, well, let's
The other 6
take
got
this
3.
one at a time. We
And
have 1. Now we have 4, 5, 6 threes? Yes, we have 6 of them that have 3. So, I wish the field were smaller.
Yeah, me too.
But we have 6 that have 3s. So at this point, based upon this, Mrs. White? Yes, ma'am.
I would suggest we Zoom call with all of them, initially.
What is the Zoom call?
It's where you get on and you talk to each other face to face on the computer.
Video conference.
It's a video conference. We do it every day at work.
I don't.
Well, you can interact with each other, you can see each other's mannerisms.
Is it any better than the thing we were doing with
Absolutely.
GoToMeeting.com?
Absolutely.
Because that was a fiasco.
Every Monday, we do 30 people. And we're getting ready to have a conference that has over 200.
Okay?
So, yes, sir. it's-
So we have to create a time
Right.
and a criteria. We can't just say we're gonna interview all of them.
Well, you have,
So what is our time and criteria gonna be? Are we gonna set a 20-minute interview status? A 30-minute? It's open-ended, we can talk for 2 days to each
I
one?
say we reserve an hour for each one,
That's the time.
and then we use what we need. If we use only 30 minutes,
Okay.
fine. If we use 45, fine, but we don't use more than
So
an hour.
that's 7 interviews. That means we're committing to 7 hours of interviews. This is not gonna happen in one day.
No, well, you could do 3 one day before the next, or 2 one day, 2 the next, do the next. I mean, it doesn't
This
really,
is right.
doesn't really matter.
And I'm looking at the IT.
You know how to Zoom, Aaron?
It's basically the same as GoToMeeting.
Yes, it is.
There's no big difference whether it's
Wait a
Zoom or
minute,
whether
if it's the same as GoToMeeting, we could just throw it out the window.
The problem with that you had was because of the bandwidth and the internet connection.
And what's gonna change about that?
I'm doing it from my house. I have
We're
no
gonna go to your
Again,
house?
we have a bandwidth
No, my house
issue
is no different than anybody else's, that's what I'm saying.
Ask him.
You don't have to have fiber optic or
here.
bandwidth.
We actually have an internet connection issue here that we're resolving with the fiber optic upgrade. But
Okay.
right now, we do have internet issues here at City Hall that cause problems with things like that.
That
But
are
we
worse
can do
than
it
my
somewhere
house.
else, yes, very much so.
Really? All
Were
right.
you not doing the GoToMeetings we were doing?
Oh, yes,
I thought you were.
I did. But Zoom is much better.
Your Honor,
Well, I'm gonna say something the council may not
Sure.
appreciate, and they may not like it, but I'm gonna throw this out there anyway. You've got 7 people here that you want to talk to. I would think that we take the time right now, go down individually with each of the other 6, and see if you can eliminate someone within that 6 before you start zooming in and all this other kind of stuff. And personally, been there, done that, don't like it, rather have a face-to-face with the individual.
Amen.
But
Well,
that's
the
just
Zoom
me.
is just the way to narrow it
I
down
don't
to 3.
care, Deborah.
And then the 3, you tell them to come.
I'm not buying it.
No.
I mean, we can do it, but I'm not buying it.
I
We
was
have
just saying,
one
if
over
we
to
can,
Louisiana, and another one in Georgia.
You can Zoom with the Louisiana and Georgia. The
No.
others are, well, some of them are all the way to Fort Lauderdale or Lee
Well,
County.
they want the job.
but that's not what I'm saying right now. I'm saying that let's talk about each individual of these 6
Okay.
and see if you really want to talk to all 6 of them, or if you want to eliminate
Okay,
some of the 6.
let's try to do this methodically.
Okay.
Is there any of these 6 that you would be willing to eliminate?
Some of these are not the ones I voted for.
There's 2 that I would eliminate.
I mean, obviously, they got 3 votes, not 6. So there were 3 of us who didn't vote for the other 3.
Yeah, I'm only asking this because the question is,
I have some concern.
But it's only a piece of paper. I don't really know these people
Yeah.
until I talk to them.
go ahead.
I do agree that when we get to a point, we need to interview face to face.
Right.
We did this with the city clerk position, and, you know, that was my first attempt at that, but figured out a lot of things through that process. The problem with this, where I, couldn't talk about until we got here today, is I know we kind of talked about try to get narrowed down as much as you can, but it's nobody's fault. I'm not pointing that out. But on this list, had I gave 6 names instead of 5, then somebody else would have another vote. And if somebody, So we've got a disparity here where some of us picked our top 5, and some picked top 10, some top 6. And
I
so
agree.
It skewed the votes. So if I got 6, I'd like to go back and add somebody to my list.
I have 4
Give them
that I'd like to add back, but
extra.
I
So
toned down the list.
that's my issue with that, is trying to, if we're gonna try to really, if we all voted for 5 and then we end up taking the top 5, to me, it just seems a little bit cleaner. But if that's not what we're gonna do, then
So we need to
the hard problem is
narrow
that
it down from here.
I say I got 5. That doesn't mean to rank 1 to 5.
Right, mine
It's
aren't.
kind of 1, 2, blah, just all there. I don't have anybody ranked, so. And I've got some that are in the next stack that are probably just as good as the ones that I took, but I know we had to narrow it down, so I tried to get there. And I wish now I'd just given you 7.
And I wish I'd given my 11.
Well, I had given,
But we
I
did what
gave
we did.
11, but 5 of them are
These
not
are what we
here.
have. So the question is, how are we gonna proceed forward? So what I'm trying to do is look for rooms for compromise. Is there any room for compromise?
I think on that topic, the mayor is on point, but I don't know how else you discuss it without discussing each one, and let's talk about why they're on the list or why they're not, and if we gotta narrow it down off of this list, I don't know how else you do it.
Okay? I guess we're gonna talk about each one, unless somebody's got a better
I got
idea.
notes written everywhere, so let's go.
I bet you do, you're a note woman.
If you want it, let's do it.
I've got notes, but can I?
Let's start
Would
at the
everyone
top.
agree that we do not need to talk any further about the one with 5, Mr. Hyatt?
No, that's.
We don't need
Agreed.
to discuss this,
I'll agree with
right?
him.
Okay. So we will move ahead from that. We have a list, and it appears to be, is this alphabetical?
No, but I can give it
No,
to you.
it's random.
Mr. Anderson is in alphabetical.
Okay.
Mr.
So
Anderson.
I would suggest we just use the list that the city clerk has given us.
Agreed.
The first person is Adam Holland, who got a vote from 3 people: Vice President Head, the mayor, and Councilor Robinson. He did not get a vote from me or Deborah Jones. So,
Or me.
Or Ellen.
or Elihu, thank you, Elihu. So it's 3 out of 6. Give me just a minute here. Are there 6?
There are
Six,
7.
sorry.
Miss
6.
Councilor Ross did not vote for the one that we did 5. It was not in his pick, Mr. Hyatt. Okay,
It was discovered later that he did not have it.
Right.
what?
It was discovered later that he didn't have that application.
I didn't have either.
And I sent it
That's
to
why
How
her.
did you know
That's
about
why I
that
did.
discovery?
Because the
I
city
got it
clerk
now, thoroughly
asked me to
reviewed.
send her a copy of mine so he could have it.
And I sent him a copy.
As long as there's no violation of sunshine.
No, there wasn't.
I'm a sunshine queen over here.
Okay. Okay. So, but nonetheless, he's not on Councilor Ross's list.
No.
So, we have 3 people that felt that Mr. Holland was worthy of a consultation. Is any of those 3 people care to speak in his behalf?
Sure.
Okay?
He has been the mayor up there in Oak Grove, Louisiana, and has a population of about 2,000 people. He's been the mayor up there for 6 years, and during the course of his being the mayor of Oak Grove up there, he handles all aspects as the city manager. They have no city manager, and the mayor handles all aspects of the city's business. And he has been in private enterprise, or has private enterprise experience for several years. That's my take.
Okay?
Did I tell you why he wasn't on my list?
I do.
What was his first name?
Adam.
Adam?
He has no Florida experience. doesn't know any Florida statutes. As far as I could tell, he didn't have real utility experience. They are a full-service city, but it appears to me they have water, sewer, and, stormwater. I actually got online and read some minutes from their meeting, just to see what he did do. And he did discuss grants, so I give him credit for that. He's never been the city manager anywhere. He is the mayor. He does have a degree in public administration. So he was in my top group until he was in my top 15, but he was not in my top 10. And I took him out because he had no Florida experience and because he didn't have any utility experience. Didn't know Florida statutes. Yeah, he probably doesn't even know what sunshine law is.
Yes.
Because it's only.
Well, I'll tell you, that was my issue, was I was really looking for someone with Florida experience.
Yep.
And I didn't go much beyond there. When I saw he had no Florida experience, I said, I'm not comfortable with this.
I liked him, I voted for him, however, he is from Louisiana.
Yeah.
He is from Louisiana.
And nothing against
Nothing
Louisiana,
against Louisiana, anybody, it's just no Florida.
We're looking for someone.
He was on the fence with me,
And if he's been the mayor for however many years, I don't know, 8 years, 6 years.
6 years.
Why would you up and move to Florida?
Why not?
Why not?
I mean, most mayors love their cities. They're not going
Well, I
anywhere.
think if you look on the map at, Oak Grove, Louisiana,
I know it is little.
that would do it.
And you can get online and you can read their minutes.
Okay.
I read probably 6 or 8 minutes, and they're like 2-page minutes, but very short. They don't have a whole lot going on.
You might
All I
remember
can
that.
say, they don't have a whole lot going on.
So, do we want him or not?
Well, I'm very clear. I want somebody with Florida statute experience. That's why he didn't make my final cut. I thought he seemed like a competent individual, and I had no question about his competency. I have concerns about his lack of Florida sunshine experience.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question of the council.
Yes,
Striking or keeping?
my feelings is he should be struck.
Well, who else voted for him?
I voted for him based on his experience as mayor, which sounds like he was city manager there.
Right.
He was not in my top 1 or 2 because he wasn't in Florida. So, but he was close running with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
He was on, but he was on the fence because of Louisiana, I just.
And the other criteria that I
What is
used
the thing
too.
about Louisiana?
No
Never mind.
Florida experience.
Okay, it's not Louisiana. It's
No, I
Florida.
like the guy,
Okay.
yeah, and I looked to see if they had the ICMA credentials, or even were a member of the association. Some of them are just members,
Right.
but they don't have the credentials. But those were things that made me narrow them down too.
Okay.
Yea or nay?
The question is, would you be comfortable with removing him from our final list?
Yes.
What about you? You voted for him too?
I would remove him,
You would agree?
I would.
So we are going to strike Mr. Holland. That's not bad. At this rate,
Mr. Holland.
midnight or
All
thereafter,
right, I've got
we'll get
20
through
more to
this.
go.
The next person is Lyndon Bonner. I voted for him. Councilor Jones voted for him. Councilor Ross voted for him. And the others did not.
No.
And I can tell you one good reason. Been there, done that. He was fired from Jackson County, Florida after 3 weeks based on allegations of sexual harassment and hostile work environment. We have been there and done that here in this city.
Yeah, that's what
I can find that out.
I saw hostile work environment, but I did not see anything about sexual
It is
harassment.
there.
Mr. Mayor, how did you find that out?
Google.
Google is a wonderful thing, son.
That's
Okay.
how I found it out, Google.
Were the allegations ever proven?
Don't know.
No, sir, they were not.
So we're just gonna crucify them without any,
Well,
They
let me
were
put it
not.
to you why, well, where there's smoke, there's usually fire.
that's a wonderful acronym.
Okay, how about if it sounds like a duck or looks like a duck,
Oh,
it's a
my
duck?
word, we're going downhill. Okay.
The only thing I really saw, again, even more than that, because I couldn't find where anything was substantiated, and I don't believe that the person that complained about him stayed either. From what I could see there, they didn't stay.
Are you saying the person that made the allegation left after the allegation?
Yes,
That's what you're saying?
yes.
And
But the
may I
other,
ask you how you found that information?
Google. But the other thing that I did see that was a little worrisome is that in more than one location, they had trouble writing him a contract. Because he was insistent about things he wanted in the
True.
contract. I saw that in multiple locations. So, he knows what he wants and he gets it, or he doesn't stay. I mean, like in one place, he only stayed 3 weeks, and he stayed only 3 weeks because they never finalized his contract. And in another place, he stayed 1 month and no contract was ever signed. That sort of thing.
You're gonna make me dig out my list, aren't you?
I wrote notes everywhere.
Well, now, do we run background checks on these people?
Eventually. We don't run background checks until we have interviewed them and decide if we want to do
Oh, he
it.
was terminated immediately, according to Google.
In Jackson. In which?
Say that again.
In which location are you talking about?
McDonough, Henry County Commissioners voted Tuesday to terminate County Manager Lyndon Bonner's contract effective immediately.
This was after the sexual.
Because they, no, totally different place, because they had 3 newly elected.
Yes, I remember this.
County commissioners, he was
Yes.
the county manager there, not the city manager. And they had 3 newly elected county commissioners, and they terminated him without cause and paid him, $36,000 in severance.
Like I said, if it looks like a duck, acts like a duck, it's a duck.
Here he is. Okay. I remember Mr. Bonner. Did I infringe on you, Your Honor? Okay.
He also lives in Ocala, so he's not far.
That's right, he wasn't far. The timing of the complaint and the investigation coincided with my reporting irregularities
Yes.
between a county utility service agreement and the county's refinancing bond covenants on my 3rd day of employment.
Right.
I did not find that difficult, because I'm looking at it, and when I read this, I said, this sounds like a man of integrity.
That's because he's got that ICMA certification, and they have an oath that
Yeah.
they take.
And what we're saying is, because he said this,
It was kind of like a whistleblower thing. He reported their irregularities and their bond covenants, and they terminated him.
yeah, immediately. Can we say that that's not something that is acceptable?
With the other baggage? Yeah.
Pardon me?
With the other baggage? Yeah.
Okay. Well, this person reviewed the city's 2017, 2018, and 2019 auditor's report before he was ever given a chance to go to this position. This man reviewed 3 years of auditor's report. I looked at that and I said, this is somebody that actually wants the position.
Yeah.
And what you guys are trying to tell me is, this man is just quits at the drop of a hat.
Well, couldn't agree to a contract, so he must not have wanted the position too bad.
Which one?
you're talking about.
He had issues with contract in Jackson County as the county administrator, and he had issues at, Henry County in Georgia as county manager.
And it's kinda ironic that it was in Jackson County where you had the sexual harassment and hostile work environment allegation too. And he couldn't agree to a contract
But he
there.
did work he worked for a whole month without a contract. But they relieved him.
But were any of those allegations?
Yeah, so the issue is,
I mean, I don't know.
who would work for a whole month without a contract? Somebody that's really trying.
Were any
As
of
I
these
recall,
charges?
our last city manager
Okay.
had a contract before he
I'm sure.
got on. Yes, Councilor Ross?
Were any of these charges
No.
substantiated?
No.
Couldn't find out. And I doubt if you'll be able to Google it. Okay, yeah, you're.
I don't think there were actually any charges, they were just,
Well,
Complaint.
allegations.
they were definitely allegations.
And these are allegations by people that he had just turned them in for
Right.
errors. My feelings is the man deserves to be heard. I'm not a big fan on pulling someone based on innuendo. That's my opinion. Let's go back to our list here. Mr. Bonner, Deborah Jones, and Councilor Ross. What's your opinion on this gentleman, Councilor Ross? You voted for him?
I voted for him. I thought he had a pretty impressive record. The only thing I might have some problem with, it seemed like he didn't stay anywhere too long. And I'm really not interested what he was doing back in 2000, 2001, 20 years ago. He may have been the best of us. I'm more interested in what happened in the last 10 years, so to speak. And, but like you say, he looks like a man of integrity with what he's got going. And, he put down a lot of things here that I don't think anybody would put down if they couldn't back them up. So I would interview him.
Okay.
I'll add too that he served as the contracted interim city manager for Brooksville.
Mm-hmm.
It was a contract for 6 months, that's how long he stayed. It gave them time to find somebody. That was in 2017, and there is a wonderful letter here from the Brooksville mayor.
Yeah. I read all that. I mean, I did see the controversy in this gentleman.
Yeah.
I did. I don't think anyone can question there's controversy. But sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe sometimes where there's controversy, there's a reason for controversy. So, you know, what we have here right now with Mr. Bonner is Councilor Ross, you would like to see him interviewed.
Yes.
Councilor Jones, let me see here.
I would. Since he's in Ocala, he can, I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't hurt to talk to the man.
Vice President Head, do you have anything to say for or against Mr. Bonner?
I understand he's given us an explanation of what happened with that, but I wasn't interested in interviewing him after I saw his resume.
Okay, so you still have no change in that opinion? Okay. No? Yes? No? Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
No.
No? Somebody count.
We're tied.
We're tied.
I mean, we can throw him out for now, and if we need him, we'll go back for him.
Well, we got 107 we can go back for.
Yeah, oh Lord, no. 107, ridiculous.
Okay, so at this point,
He does have Florida experience,
he has Florida experience.
and he's ICMA certified.
My goodness, I don't have any clue what to do
Let's
with
put him
it.
in, let's put him in a holding pile over here. Go to the
I
next
would,
one.
I mean, and I'm against him, but in this case, if we're gonna take 3-3 tie, I think you gotta put him in.
Okay.
Or you gotta say,
Put him in.
we take the mayor's input, but if it comes down to 5 of us that are gonna vote, what's the majority? It's 3-2, put him in.
Okay.
I like the way you
I'll
think.
put him in, he's only in Ocala, let's talk to the man, why not?
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt anything, he hadn't got to go a long way to get here.
Okay, so we're gonna leave Mr. Bonner in. Is anybody gonna have a fit about this? Good.
Not now.
Not now.
Just
Mr.
give you
Wood.
the opportunity to ask him.
Yes, I would suggest that anybody that has questions about anything will have an opportunity to talk to him. Mr. Woods?
I'm sorry, President
Yes.
Goodman, on Mr. Bonner,
Yes.
he might have already accepted another position.
Thank you.
Has he notified you of this?
He called me last week and he was talking about another position, but I'm not sure if he has accepted it, but he.
I
might
did
have.
see where he was in the top 5 for some position
Yes.
in the state
Tried
of
to tell
Florida.
you guys.
Yeah, and I saw that too on the internet.
Okay,
Okay, so
but.
I don't know if he
we'll
got it
leave
or
him
not.
in,
Reach out.
but you need to just call him, tell him he's in our interview folder, and if he has accepted another, we wish him the very best.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put a question mark. James Woods, I voted for him.
I did too.
Deborah Jones voted for him. And Elihu Ross voted for him. Vice President Head did not. Councilor Robinson did not. And the Mayor Robinson did not. So, Deborah Jones, who has always got more things than I can shake a stick at, tell us why you think he was good.
He's got the right education, he's a member of ICMA. He has gas and electric. You
Yeah.
can very rarely find a city that's got natural gas and electric themselves. He's got both of those experience. He has been on the board for with FMPA, FMGA, FMEA, and FGU. And he served on them until he left the state of Florida, which he did to go to Georgia in 2011. His most recent position, which ended in January of 2020, he went again as an interim position. That's why he was only there he was there for 1 year. He served in an interim position.
An interim manager for 1 year?
Mm-hmm. In Dawson, Georgia.
Unusual to find.
It is. And his other jobs, he was there 6 years, 4 years in Florida, and that's where he had the natural gas and the electric experience. 6 years in the one before that, and where he started out as the assistant to the mayor, became the city clerk, and then the town administrator.
Moved right up the ranks.
Yes, he did. And that was the first position he had as the city administrator. He moved to Bluntstown, which is, a small place.
I know my wife's from that area.
Okay. And then, from then on, he's been in 2 Georgia cities, but he currently lives in Georgia. But he's got longevity. He's a member of the ICMA and all of the other, he's been on the board of all the other professional organizations until he left Florida, because all those are Florida organizations.
Okay, now I'd like someone to speak against him. Vice President Head, you did not vote for Mr. Woods.
I did not vote for him. He was on my borderline or bubble applicant. He's got a lot of experience without a doubt. I wasn't sure the interim position and why he was only there a year and why they didn't try to retain him, but I guess I'll know that. I don't have a problem interviewing him. I think his resume is pretty extensive. I just, once again, tried to get down to 5, so if I had kept 6 or 7, he probably would have been there.
I did talk to some people in Bluntstown, if I know, who know him. They said, other than being argumentative from time to time, he was a good man.
You can put me in.
Apparently, you did right along with it, you did right along with it. Apparently,
I
there
think we're all
was
fit
a
in that
long
category.
time- A long-time building contractor there who did a lot of work, and Mr. Wood saw some things he didn't like, so he rejected it. And he got into a shouting match with this guy, with this building inspector and, or contractor. And he elected to leave.
Who is he?
Mr. Wood.
Okay.
And then there was another one
He got fired.
where he and the, police chief didn't see eye to eye on a few things.
They can be on there.
So, the police chief is now the sheriff out there in the county. And, Mr. Wood is gone, but he is a native of Bluntstown,
Okay.
small town.
I believe I read where he was fired 3 times.
Say it again.
I believe I read Google, and he was fired 3 separate times.
Fired 3 separate times?
Yes,
As
sir.
a city manager, he was fired from 3 different cities as city manager.
Correct.
Where is Cedar Grove?
Google it.
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure, but
Oh,
they
no.
loved it.
East of,
It's in Bay County.
east of Central Bay County.
Yeah, it's in Bay
All
County,
right.
Well, if he's argumentative,
which is in the Panhandle.
if you got a problem with the police chief, if you got fired from 3 different cities,
I don't know if he got fired from 3 different cities, somehow I missed that if he did.
I didn't catch it either. Is it in his resume?
oh, yeah, it's in there.
It's in his resume or it's in Google?
No, it's in the Google. They're not gonna put on their resume that they were fired from any position.
So it's Googled.
Oh, it was Google
Some
time.
of them do, and they tell you why. They give you an explanation.
You'll never be fired. You're here forever. Okay, we're gonna try to resolve this. Mr. Woods, I have heard nothing, I'm looking for the no. Vice President Head, you said that you would interview him, even though he's not on your list, is that correct? So I'm putting you as a square box in a round hole. Jerry Robinson is not gonna change his mind.
No,
Counselor Robinson,
No.
okay. So, with Vice President Head, we have a majority that said they would like to see him interviewed. So Bonner is questionable, according to you, is that correct? Not gone, just questionable. Okay. Mr. Woods, we would like to interview. And Mr. Hyatt, we would like to interview. We will now move to Calvin Anderson. I voted for Mr. Anderson. Vice President Head voted for Mr. Anderson. Councilor Robinson voted for Mr. Anderson. Mayor Robinson did not. Councilor Jones did not. And Councilor Ross did not. So let's go with the pros first. Of those that voted for Mr. Anderson. Vice President Head, what reason did you vote for Mr. Anderson?
Well, I've got his resume, I don't have notes on all these, from when I went through them, but basically just his, background and work experience. I think he had like 15 years in municipal government. Various roles, his education background, he was, once again, kind of lumped in no priority order for me, but I felt like he was worthy of an interview.
Okay. I will point out to those that are in the audience, this council has looked at 107 people. So if we can't recall every single thing from every single candidate, there might be a reason. It's because the volume is just incredible. So do not misrepresent the council thinking that they haven't done what they should. The fact is that there's a huge volume of information here. So I also have to refer to my notes so that I don't remember one person and be talking about another one. Mr. Anderson, let's see. Someone that voted against it, Councilor Robinson. I have to find my notes here.
No, I voted for him.
That's why I don't have lines on this paper.
I don't either, I got it.
Okay, Anderson. Okay,
And I don't remember. what
Councilor
line.
Jones voted against him. I'd like an opposing view.
The man can't spell.
He can't spell Florida. He can't spell anything. There's like 4
My
misspelled
wife
words on the
would
front
never
page.
let him have a job if he couldn't spell.
That's the first thing I noticed, but I did like him for some reason. But he can't spell Florida. He can't spell anything.
He can't spell anything, or he can't spell Florida?
He can't spell anything.
You don't think Florida is just a finger slip?
I just didn't know how to use it.
There's
Laptop.
many other words on here besides that one that are.
Okay, give me another one.
Another reason?
No, another word.
Well, there are two on the first page.
Because
Don't,
I'm an absolute horrible speller.
I would have to pull it up.
Well, I got it right here if you want it.
Well, I've got this right here,
Oh.
but you should see it in the electronic version. It is read everywhere. I'm talking about.
The electronic version is read everywhere.
Yes.
You mean it's read all over the world?
Because of the
Oh.
misspelled words, it's all highlighted in red.
You have an electronic version that's got highlights in red?
When the word has been spelled, it has red underlining, yes, sir.
Oh, God, can we get on with this?
Well, you'd think somebody would have enough, pride to get the thing spelled right if he's gonna submit it.
Well, especially if he's got a master's in public administration.
Well, yeah, and I can sit here and read it if you want. I didn't
No,
actually
you don't
mark,
need to, I just want to
I
make
didn't
sure that
actually mark the words
you're
that were
strong
wrong.
in your opinions, that's all.
I am. He was a town manager
He
in
is,
Florida,
correct.
but, a deputy. He was actually the deputy city manager in Florida. Other than that, he's been in Texas for the last X number of years.
And I tried to find San Antonio Charter Town, Texas,
No.
and I couldn't find it.
I couldn't either.
I couldn't
He
even
does
Google
have
it.
a very
Well, Texas
heavy,
is a big fish, Your Honor.
Yeah, but it's a town supposedly.
he also, he has
What's
a
the
very
name of the
heavy
town?
financial background.
He does, and I think that's why.
Antonio Charter Town, Texas.
Is he trying to say San Antonio?
Okay. Counselor Head spoke for him. Counselor Jones is in the process of speaking
I'm just sort of,
against him.
well, he was in my top 15 too, but, like Justin said, I narrowed him out.
You're kidding. You narrowed somebody down?
I did, and he's one of them. He was not
Okay.
on my list. As big as my list was, he was not on it. And it
Okay.
mainly had to do with his spelling.
And he's got good working experience on MS, Office, including Word, too.
All right, and
You
look
are
at spelling.
being ugly. I know that tone.
Hey, it's right there on the summary.
But he's got good financial back, I mean.
He does have good financial background, yes.
And another thing
He's
too
been an
here,
external auditor, but that's mostly what he's done.
he has been around, he tried at, Rockledge, Florida, North Miami, Florida, went up to Cleveland, Tennessee, come back to Palm Coast, Florida, Lauderdale Lakes, Florida, and he was not considered for any of those positions.
Well, that's very good of you, yeah, he's not
Okay,
on
so
it.
what we've had is the mayor speaking against him again. Counselor Robinson has spoke against him.
And I won't speak against him, he's just not on my list.
What, I voted for him, it's just.
I'm sorry, there's no lines on this paper, did I mention that? Okay, you're
I
right,
did vote for him
You did.
because of his financial background.
okay. Counselor
Not
Ross,
for his spelling.
I
Do you have
have
any
no comment
comment?
one way or the other.
I'm not kidding.
He didn't impress me. Okay. Well, I'll be frank, I voted for him, but he was, out of the 11, he had that financial background that you're talking about, and I'm not overly impressed.
No, I wasn't either, but it was because
It
of
was
financial.
acceptable, and that's what I was down to.
Yeah.
So I would have no problem.
I have no problem
Switching.
rolling him out.
Okay, so two of us with this conversation have agreed to not interview Mr. Anderson. Is that accurate? Okay, Mr. Anderson, we wish you the very best, and you are now struck off. Timothy Day, I voted for him, Counselor Jones voted for him, Counselor Robinson voted for him. Vice President Head did not. Mayor did you vote for anybody?
No, they're on the bottom, they're way down there on the
Okay.
bottom.
Mayor Robinson did not, and Counselor Ross did not. Let's have the pros first. We want to start off on a positive note. Counselor Jones.
Okay, let's see, he, currently lives in Lee County, which is Fort Myers. He's been a town manager of multiple properties, multiple cities. I will say he started out in the police department. He was a police officer the first half of his career, and then he became a council member and a mayor.
Yes.
And then he, became a director in a public service academy. And from there, he's been the town manager of a city near Tallahassee and Melbourne Beach.
I did see, what I Googled, that he was city manager at Indian Rivers, but it's not on his application. I couldn't understand that. Oh.
Ooh.
You know.
Wait, let Counselor Jones finish her pro, and then we'll let the mayor do the comment.
I will say that when two of his last two jobs, he was full-time, but both of them are very small cities. They wanted him to be a part-time city manager. And he wanted a full-time job, and that's why he left both of them. That's what he said anyway.
Okay.
He does have Florida experience.
Yes. Are you finished?
I am.
He can't wait. Your Honor.
Okay, he was in Melbourne, Florida, he was a town manager, he resigned after 18 months because of a family reason. He was not on his resume at Indian River Shores as town manager, but this wasn't on his resume. He was hired, they did not do a background check on him beforehand. The mayor said, quote, there were some things in his background that we ultimately decided would not make him a good fit, end quote.
Ouch.
It cost the city $15,000 to cancel his contract. Cape Coral, Florida, he was city councilman / mayor pro tem. He was investigated by the sheriff's office and school board for 2 separate incidents. I rest my case.
Timothy Day.
Timothy James Day.
And where did you get this information, Your
Mr.
Honor?
Google.
Google is our friend.
Mr. Copeland, isn't it illegal to Google?
No.
I think if they're gonna rely on that first, they need to say the latter.
Mr. Google.
Mr. Google's
His
last
last
name.
name is Google.
His first name,
I am
Mr.
curious why they don't use Yahoo or Bing or any of the others. Maybe they found good things.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Maybe.
I'm
Probably
always
not, but.
a little bit leery of trusting some platform like Google to give me the information. You're assuming that Google is, I know some of you people think the sun rises and falls in Googling, but
You can find in minutes, you can find newspaper articles. Most of what I've read is newspaper articles.
I like that a lot better than.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm finding it on
It's in Google.
but that's where I find it.
Right, that's where
I go to Google, that's where I find the newspaper.
Yeah, if it's on the internet, it's true.
True.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
You gonna be all right?
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Y'all bored yet?
Okay.
Moving ahead,
Let's
Mr.
move on.
Day. I am still not convinced that he is not a good fit. Counselor Jones,
I give him up.
you gave him up
I give him
to the
up.
dogs?
I
for
give him
war,
up to the
huh?
dogs with what the mayor has reported.
Okay.
I'll give him up as well.
Me too.
You already gave him up.
You and Google.
Would you, Mrs. Wright, would you tell Mr. Day that I tried to fight the good fight? I'm teasing, don't call him, don't text him, that was humor. Humor. Okay, so Mr. Day is history.
Correct.
Who do we have? We only got three.
Pretty soon, we're gonna have everybody eliminated.
Hey, you got
Keep
three.
going.
You're doing good.
All right,
You're doing good.
let's go.
Yeah, Lyndon Bonner has survived by the skin of his
Yeah,
teeth.
no.
Yeah, as of right now.
I can't find that he has a job.
And you got
I tried.
one.
Oh, that's right, Miss
I
Lyndon Bonner probably is already employed.
I hope
I
he
couldn't
is.
find it.
That's why I said we're down to two.
I hope he
Well, he put in the job for North Miami Beach in May of 2020, but there's nothing showing if he was, accepted or not.
Well, the city clerk said he told her that he was in the process of accepting
That's
the
what,
position.
good for him.
So, yeah, good for him. So I'm circling him. We're not knocking him out. We're putting a question mark. But the only two that we actually have at this point is
Hyatt and Woods.
Mr. Hyatt and Mr. Woods.
We still have one more on the list.
Is that James McCroskey?
We have more people on the list.
Well, I know but one that still has 3 votes. We have one more.
Oh.
Mr. Bakrowski.
Is that?
John Cameron
No,
No, James,
I'm-
is that James McCroskey?
and, oh, I'm sorry, I think we,
Oh, McCroskey, yeah.
okay, Andrew Hyatt, we all agreed to interview.
Right.
Is it possible to get these spreadsheets with lines on them
Sure.
in the future?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I do.
You give me little blue things so that I can see where to do it? Give me lines on a spreadsheet.
This is what you do.
That's what I'm trying to do.
They got a new thing.
I don't wanna hear it,
About
Your Honor.
12 inches long.
I don't wanna hear it, Your Honor.
I used to keep one on my
Okay,
desk.
Mr. Cameron did not make it, he only got one vote, so I'm moving down.
And that's him.
Ann Capella
No,
did not make it, she only got one vote.
No,
Moving on down,
McCroskey.
James McCrokey.
that should be McCroskey.
Should be
There's an F.
The S got left out.
McCroskey.
There's an S,
Yes.
There is.
he could not spell his name?
He spelled it right.
Oh,
He didn't
okay.
spell it right.
He had what's his face do his.
Okay,
That's right.
I did not vote for Mr. McCroskey, I'm gonna put the S because it's driving me nuts. Vice President Head did, Deborah Jones did, Councilor Robinson did not, and Councilor Ross did, and where is the mayor? Oh, he's
Oh, he
that-
didn't.
He's that blank spot.
He
I don't
didn't
know.
win that.
Don't have to laugh, because it's
Mr.
a
Ross.
day.
Okay,
Something
let's
else.
start on a positive note, please.
Did you say I did?
You did.
I've got a 1 here, sir,
Yeah, you did.
unless it's like missing the A in Florida.
You can miss the A, FL is acceptable. It's all those other words you spelled wrong.
FL is my friend.
Oh, FL is like.
Yes,
like
because
good
I
luck.
don't have to try to remember how to spell it.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so, Counselor Jones, you were a pro, I'd like you to start, and then our 2 strongest debaters, Mayor, if you would do the con.
Oh, cool.
Okay, he's a U.S. Navy veteran, which always says a good thing. He has a master's degree in urban and regional planning, as well as a degree in urban geography and land management. He also attended the Municipal Utility Engineering School in Madison, Wisconsin. He has electric experience. He has Florida City experience. He's familiar with CRA. He is ICMA member only, not certified, but he is a member. Has 25 years of experience in Florida. Not all of it in Florida, but most of it. He's been in South Carolina and North Carolina as well. That's about what I can say.
He changes jobs every year.
Your Honor.
He followed OL Wingo, does that count?
Okay, 2015, he tried for the CM in Lake City, Florida, didn't get it. He was an interim town administrator of the town of Estill, South Carolina, where he resigned after 6 months on the job. He tried for CM in Eagle Lake, North Carolina, didn't get it. Then he came down to Greenville, Florida as town manager, where he resigned because of continuing absences of council members and wanted to be near his family in Daytona. Then he was CM at Enfield, North Carolina, but couldn't find anything on that one. Mr. Google let me down.
Well, the council members were amazing.
And he was a CM at Holly Hill, Florida. He stepped in when OL Wingo was fired, resigned because he wanted to take a break from the position, and in the wake of controversy over an audit of city finances that showed some undocumented purchase on his city credit card, among other issues, and he was an assistant CM at Daytona Beach Shores, Florida. I rest.
You do such a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Vice President Head, you voted for him. Thank you very much.
Good grammar, he spells well. Looking for
Knows
city
how to use
manager
spell
type
check.
experience, and he had quite a bit of that. Most recently as an interim. I was unsure about his position after November of 19, or what he's been doing since then. But, yeah, it was a pretty short resume, but it was, there was a lot of information in there about his experience in different cities. It does look like he jumped around a lot. There was some reasoning behind some of that, but I don't know if it's good or not. So talking about council that's a mess or don't show up, there's absences.
Yeah, you can read their minutes too.
The one issue was the credit card situation that kind of had me concerned. Other than that, I felt like he was worthy of an interview.
Have you had any change listening to this conversation?
He's got Florida experience. I base a lot of my decisions and recommendations on city manager experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did I.
I feel like we're in a position where we need that.
Councilor Ross, you voted for this gentleman.
I like him because he was brief. He got to the point and told us what he had, didn't spend 15 pages of reading on and on and on for stuff we wasn't gonna worry with anyway. But he's got the Florida experience. I did not know that he had gone there after Dr. Wingo, but she was later acquitted of charges against her, is my understanding.
Yes, she was.
And then Greenville, Florida, I guess is somewhat similar to Williston. It's maybe not quite as big, but I like what he put down for that. And then he went down the list. He's a Navy veteran. He gave several places where he went, what he did, and he didn't, like I say, he didn't give us 15 pages to tell us that he was a good man. So I like him.
Well, he was so brief, you didn't stay in a job for very long.
Well, a lot of them don't. A lot of these city managers, if you go back and look through 6 months, a year, 2 years, 6 months.
It's
None
a
of
tough
them,
job.
none of them has
And then we
been
have
there
to get
very
an
long.
interim city manager back.
So I had to just kind of revise my thinking on that.
Yeah. And he was 5 years.
Okay, so
and
you're
that's
still
how
a
big.
go for him? Counselor Jones, you're still a go for him?
Yes, sir.
Vice President Head, you're still a go for him?
Sure.
That's 3, and I would tell you that I did not vote for this individual because I was culling my votes. I would like to see an interview with him. So that gives us a majority to continue on the interview process with him. Assuming these people want to be interviewed. You know, this has been a lengthy process. We may have changes as we move forward. So, Mr. McCroskey. Okay, I'm gonna have to put a special note because I didn't even, well, he's probably in this, but I'm not gonna waste people's time trying to find him.
No, he's not.
He's here. This is the other list, let's check. Okay. Mr. Rosenthal did not make the list. He had only 2. Heather Reuter,
Some of those twos I did like though, so if we get too low, we may have to,
well, we're
Add 'em
not,
back
no, nobody is
I know we're not there
eliminated,
yet.
but we have to have a process.
Yes, we do.
Heather Reuter did not get the 2. Robert Skipper got 2 votes.
I like him.
I liked a lot of people. Christopher Edwards got 2 votes. Kimberly Alonso got 1 vote. Jackie Gorman got 1 vote. I missed one. Rob Williamson got 1 vote.
2 votes.
2 votes, thank you.
I liked him, but I didn't vote.
Kinda like him too.
I did too, but.
Don't know which
2
authority.
people, well, Counselor Ross stood up to his conviction and voted for the man, but Counselor Robinson, who said she liked him, did not.
I did.
Okay, Jackie Gorman, 1 vote, did not make the cut. We are down to a manageable list here.
3 and a maybe.
Yeah, we got 4 yet.
The unlikely Mr. Bonner
No.
is the maybe, that's what you're saying? Yeah. Okay, so what we have is Mr. Woods, Mr. Hyatt, and Mr. McCroskey.
Narrowed it down to 4.
And Mr. Woods is the only one that's far away. He's about 4 hours away. Maybe closer to 5.
Okay. So we're gonna ask the city clerk to get with these candidates. There are 3, right?
4,
4 candidates?
including Mr. Bonner, there are 4.
Well, I'm sorry, but I've just given up on Mr. Bonner. Okay, there are 4 candidates?
I don't think he has a job yet.
Well, I don't know, we'll
I
find out.
can't find it.
We would like you to contact these people and see what manner of interview they are able to give us. Hopefully, it's not Googling.
Oh, they'll be Googled. They'll be Googled.
That will be
They've
up to
already
the
been
city clerk.
Googled.
You know, each individual may have unique circumstances, and we want to be as accommodating as we can.
Okay, question.
Yes,
HR,
HR.
are you able to pull the application for me?
I can make contact with everybody tomorrow if you want to. That's
Because
fine.
I don't have.
So am I talking to you?
You can, absolutely, I mean, that.
Would you prefer I talk to her?
I don't have access to any of their applications.
I've been. looking at-
HR will take care of this.
Interim.
Interim HR.
Interim HR,
No, HR.
like the city interim, no, wait, it says city manager there.
Yeah.
No.
Ms. Brooks, will you take care of this?
Yes.
You'll contact these people and see what manner that we can
Yes.
contact them and get interviews set up.
Yes, is there a specific time frame in which you want to? bring
That's the next question. I believe that the current city manager is very flexible and doesn't really care if it takes months.
Friday, this Friday.
This is Tuesday, August 8th. We have budgets coming at us like a freight train.
Yes, sir.
So we would like to do it sooner rather than later. I can't tell you exactly because I don't know these individuals' schedules.
Yes, I will find out tomorrow.
And my position to the council is if you can't make it for the interview, then we're going to do it without you.
There you go. How about we do it on the day of the budget hearing?
Heaven forbid.
I think you don't have to come once.
Heaven forbid.
This one should be quick.
You could bring lunch.
An hour each is 4 hours. That's not what my version of quick is.
No, I said the budget hearing would be quick.
Quicker.
It won't be 8 hours like it was last time.
You don't know.
Yeah. It shouldn't be.
And you would like afternoon meetings, is that fair to assume?
Is it anybody here that still works for a living? You do, don't you?
Yeah,
Okay.
so
2 jobs.
afternoon.
So, is there any particular time frame that works best for you?
I mean, I'm fairly flexible. It would be better from 4 o'clock on.
You hear? We have one person.
Well, I think Ms. Jones is shaking her head 3/4. Yep.
You still work for a living?
Yeah.
You don't, right?
Yes, I do.
4 would be wonderful.
What's the matter with you people? Haven't you heard about retirement?
No,
I
that'll
don't work.
never happen.
I know that. Okay.
I want to bring up one thing.
Yes,
As
sir.
we wrap this up, hopefully. Struggle with one applicant on here, and I hate that we have to discuss this in front of that applicant and other people, but I left one off of my list, the top 5, for some probably selfish reasons, based on where we are currently at in the city. If I had voted for 6, I would have Jackie Gorman on there as my 6th person with a vote, and I'm not saying that just to make her feel good because she's here, but I want my opinion noted because I've got to deal with the fact that she wasn't in my top 5, but I think she's done a great job. I wouldn't mind seeing her in the top 5 to get an interview, but that is what it is. We voted and there
Yeah.
where it stands.
We, some of us called them down, and I am very direct, Mrs. Gorman, and you are sitting right in front of me, so I'm going to tell you straight out, the reason that I rejected you is because you recommended the HR person that just quit.
Yes.
And I said, if I can't depend on someone for that kind of thing, I am concerned. That I point blank, the reason I finally decided not to vote for you was because the HR person that you recommended didn't work out very well for the city.
May I explain?
You may do anything you want, the vote is passed.
She worked with me in 2 places, and the work she did for me was superior. I had not worked with her in HR, but I knew she had HR background over it. I had no idea at all that she was gonna leave or just walk out, none.
Neither did anybody else.
So this was a surprise, but based on her performance, for me, it was outstanding. I don't know why she did not complete her HR task. She did not do HR for me, but the work she did for me was great. She showed up every day, she was intelligent, she did her job very, very well. So I had no reason not to think that she could handle a position like that.
I understand.
So that's why when I was asked, I said, she did a great job for me.
But that, I just wanted you to know.
Thank you.
It was not personal, it was because of the what happened with the person that you did recommend, that I said ultimately not gonna do this. So, the die is cast. So we have our marching orders, and I'll quit looking at you, Latricia. I'll do my best. You have your marching orders?
Yes, sir.
And you will inform the council as soon as you can get interviews set up,
Yes,
correct?
Yes, sir.
And all council people are on notice that in the event, Vice President Head, in the event that these people cannot meet after 4 o'clock, we're going to schedule a meeting, and then if you can't make it, we understand, okay? We will try to schedule it after 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
We understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Good,
Who said that?
interim city manager.
Oh. Oh, yes.
On the final, it was okay if the human resources does a brief background on them, so you have.
As long as it doesn't cost us money.
It won't cost money. And the second thing I'd like to do, for everybody who did not make the list, can we send them a letter so at least they know?
Yes, you can. However, I don't want to burn bridges before we have them.
We may have to back up and pick up some.
I don't want to send someone a thank you very much note and then end up having to call and say, oh, we changed our mind. That doesn't feel good.
Okay, well, some of them, I just,
I mean, the people with one vote. Yeah,
I think you should do it
at the same time.
at the same time.
what about the ones that have no votes?
I don't think they're on this list here.
Now, I say the ones who have not received.
Okay, if there were no votes,
At least let them know that they're no longer in the running, so it's only
I
fair
would
to
have
them.
no problem with that. Any member of the council have any problem with that? If they received no votes from any council member, thank them very much for their application, and we will.
That's just a courtesy
move
thing.
ahead. It is a courtesy thing, and I'm all about courtesy. Okay?
Brooke, I scheduled a meeting for next week.
Brooke, he meant next year.
Yes, sir, gotcha.
Okay. He misspoke. All I gotta say is, if you weren't really happy, why did you take the interim off of that thing up there?
I did take it off.
Okay, I'm just saying, it seems to notice.
I have to know I'm not on the floor.
Okay, we're moving ahead, I've had my
We
fun.
can fix that if you'd like for us to. Come on, we're only
Item
30
5,
away through.
new business.
Yeah.
Oh, resolutions galore.
Wait, I can do it.
Jackie,
Yes, sir.
resolution 2020-37, talk to us.
Yes, sir, it's a housekeeping item. You had asked me to assume responsibility over the code enforcement and board of adjustment, and we realized those terms had been expired since 2019, so we just wanted to get those cleaned up. I had a couple on CRA that expired when I was new, and I thought I only had to do it on the CRA board, so I didn't realize I had not done a resolution and brought to you on that one. So we're just cleaning up our board members, trying to make sure their terms are correct, and so I brought them all together on a roster so you could see it and ask for your approval.
Okay, and so this resolution is reappointing the current members
It is.
from the Board of Adjustment, Code Enforcement Board, and the CRA.
Yes,
This is a mass reappointment.
yes.
Yes.
I would say that the resolutions say that they're all appointed for the same number of years.
I couldn't find old resolutions.
Which is true, the
Right.
same number of years, but they should be staggered
I
years.
agree. I couldn't find any records from them.
Typically, we have, in the past, before we lost track of everything, we used to have a staggered, so that you don't have empty boards.
And since they're all being reappointed, just pick a year. Appoint some for 1 year, some for 2, and some for 3. And then you're all back you're back on schedule again.
Okay, I have a meeting with them,
Now, does that make sense?
and
I am not sure it's correct, but it makes sense.
Well, they're supposed to be staggered, and you don't appoint them all
They're
at the
supposed
same
to
time.
be staggered, but there is a procedure in for board appointments.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it says 2 and 2 and 2.
I can ask
Yeah,
Two
that's
and
what I'm
three
saying,
and
and
two.
we're just arbitrarily just kicking that procedure down the road.
That's what I mean.
I just went by the information
I understand. So, yes, just try to get us read stacked, and if there is some problem, let us know.
Thank you.
But ideally, just like the city council, we do not want all of the seats to be empty at once.
Okay. Also,
Yes.
another comment on the spreadsheet. On the Citizens Advisory Task Force, which is a different board altogether. I see Mr. Schmidt is here. It's listing his address at a place I don't think he lives.
Are
I mean,
we
you can ask
still
him.
on resolution 2020-37?
We're still supposed to be on that resolution.
Yeah, let's stick to the resolution on the floor.
Well,
It is, it's on the
It's
roster.
part of the spreadsheet that goes with it. It's the backup material.
Oh, I see, okay, gotcha.
We can correct that. I think once if they get used again.
I mean, you don't live at 852 Northwest Second Avenue, right? Yeah, see, that's a house I used to own, and I know he doesn't live there, because I know the people who live there now. So I don't know where that address came from, but that's not correct.
I think you use this for CDBG projects, don't you, CJ?
Okay, wait just a minute. This resolution on its surface, not the backup, the resolution says reappointing members from the Board of Adjustment, Code Enforcement, Board, and CRA. And you just went to a board that's not in this resolution.
But it's on the same spreadsheet.
But it's not in this resolution.
Okay, I'm really sorry.
I'll correct it.
I don't know where that is on.
Okay, well,
I
I
don't think
can't
it's
vote
on
for
here.
this resolution.
I didn't make a motion.
I'm just saying, if that's the case, I can't vote for a resolution that is inaccurate.
All right. And it's, you mean because the terms aren't staggered?
Because the resolution does not call for the advisory board, which is what we're talking about here.
If there's an error on the address, I'll fix it. That's all. You don't have to vote on it.
Yeah, I know that.
I'll
Is
provide-
this an advisory board
Yes,
that we're
that-
talking about?
I've never used them. It was just on the roster, so I just printed out what I had. If it's a correction, I'll make it.
They're not to be included in the resolution. Is that correct?
We're keeping this roster together. Every time there's a change, we'll keep it there.
Right.
If there's an address change, we'll fix it. That's
But
all.
according to the resolution, they don't need to be named.
Those are just for terms.
Right.
Is this resolution, you were talking about the advisory board, is that correct? And
It's an
this
address that's wrong.
yes, Mr. Cobra, straighten me out.
Ms. Jones was talking about it, hopefully an exhibit to the resolution.
Right.
Was, included too many, boards. I thought I heard the request to Ms. Gorman to go back and look for, better staggered terms for it. And so, I thought we were going on the next business item, but 2020-37, if you're still entertaining it, should not be passed because the terms of the Board of Adjustment are not properly staggered. They all end in not only the same year, but more importantly, there should probably be a group that ends around the same time. And then another group that ends at a different time, so that you always have a quorum. But as you can see, the ending term date changes for all but 2 of them. So there's something off there, and I thought Ms. Gorman said that she would go back and look for additional information.
So we're just not going,
We're gonna table it.
we're gonna table this.
You would pass it,
Say that again.
pass it or postpone it, or just not
Now,
consider it?
I'm not gonna vote for it, we can pass it over me. We have a resolution before us. Does everybody understand the issues at hand? do I have a motion on resolution 2020-37? Ma'am?
I want her to redo it, and then we'll have a motion. So, you wanna,
So if.
want me to make a motion to postpone? Is that what you want me to do?
Postpone, or if there's no motion, then it
Right.
dies for lack of a motion. Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't have to do
I'll do
anything.
either one you want me to do.
I don't want you to do anything. You're the elected official. I want you to do what you want to do.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion? I hear no motion. Resolution 2020-37 fails, and we are asking you to bring it back corrected. Okay? Discussion.
Just say thank you.
I don't even know what, I'm not even gonna address that.
It's for your line. You need it for budgetary too. Or somebody down the.
Okay, moving ahead. Discussion with possible action, renegotiate service agreement with the city of Williston and Waste Pro. Is Dana here?
No, sir, I can tell you that I heard from her this afternoon via text.
Okay.
And she told me that she is very sick.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
She said it's, just to let you know, it's not COVID related. So that she would be here if at all possible, but
She is in the
very
go-to
ill.
meeting.
Yeah.
She is in the go-to meeting.
Say that again?
She
She is in the
online.
go-to
She is
meeting
on the phone.
online, yes.
She's in the go-to-meet?
She's virtually present.
I am so sorry that she is in there. Okay.
So she can address us.
She
She can address you, yes. Yeah.
This was on page 15 and 16. Has everybody read these pages? This one page, 15 and 16, 2 pages?
15 and 16, I've got it on 19 and 20. 19 and 20.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Miller. Right here it says pages 15 and 16.
Well, then the agenda doesn't match the packet.
No.
It's 19.
The amended agenda is 19 and 20.
Right.
I did unmute it. Can you hear me?
Hi, Dana.
You're up.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Council President.
Okay. So evidently we've had multiple agenda packets floating around again.
Yes.
So I have read, and I assume all members of the council have read, the letter from your, what is he called?
Waste Pro.
Your head operations person?
It's actually from her.
Dana Miller.
No, it was from somebody else. Who was that from?
It's got her name on top. Dana Miller.
Dana?
It has her name.
The letter was from me, but obviously our division manager, Trip Lancaster, is, I didn't put his name on it, but it would also, he's also with me. He's actually on a go-to meeting also right now on the call with us.
Okay. This communications that I'm talking about is where he explained the devastation I am getting for it, the devastation that has occurred to the entire waste collection industry as a result of COVID.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't realize you were
I knew I
talking
wasn't
about
crazy.
that email.
Well,
I thought you were talking about the letter for
No.
our proposal for our renewal.
I am
My
talking
apologies.
about, because I think it is relevant to your proposal for renewal, the letter, and I want to make sure that everybody else has seen that letter.
Yeah.
Okay, that letter is from our CEO, Sean Jennings.
Thank you.
That
Sean
letter,
Jennings.
that letter went out company-wide, to all, 11, all the, municipalities that we service in our footprint, which covers 11 states, because the COVID situation not only has affected, garbage hauling companies in Florida, but it's definitely nationwide and industry-wide. And he asked if we would send that out to all the cities that we service.
So my question is, has everybody on the council seen that letter?
I thought you were talking about the one August 4th.
Yeah, no, this was just basically an informational letter explaining the heartaches and problems that the waste industry is having, trying to deal with the situation that has developed. I just wanted to make sure. Now we can go ahead to your proposal. Dana?
Yes, sir. So you have in your agenda packet today a letter with our initial proposal for a renewal, and I can remind the council at the last council meeting that y'all had approved for this to happen. And under the circumstances of having an interim city manager, it's a little bit different situation that we're negotiating directly with y'all as council, not negotiating with staff first, which is fine, it's just semantics. So that's why this is coming before you. And you see in the letter that we are just simply, the last contract that we have with y'all was a 3-year contract. You went out for an RFP in 2016. The new contract started in 2017, which would have ended July 31st. But y'all also gave us approval to do a short-term extension until the end of September to allow both Waste Pro and the city time to figure out what's going to happen. So that brings us to today, that we are asking for a 3-year contract again. So that's the same as last time. The last contract did not allow for any price increases, so we are asking for a 3% price increase for the first year, and CPI increases the following 2 years. CPI, as you probably already know, is Consumer Price Index. Historically, over the last, I'd say 10, 15 years, CPI normally runs somewhere between 1 and maybe 2%. But more like 1.5% typically, and very, not as often, but every once in a while you'll see a negative CPI. And historically with the contract, if you'll remember when Levy County went to their tax assessment regarding residential garbage, that was put on all the residents' taxes, and then that relieves all the haulers from paying tipping fees or disposal fees, interchangeable terms there, to the county landfill. So at that time, we did decrease the pricing for Williston from $15.92, which was the original pricing from the beginning of the contract, down to $12.89, which is a $3.03 decrease, which was based on average tonnage that we had been taking to the landfill. There's a formula. It has to do with average tonnage that we were taking and cost and average tonnage per household. And from Williston, we came up with 303, which was actually the most significant decrease in the county. And that was the only price change that there was over the life of the previous contract. So you're currently at $12.89. A 3% increase is 39 cents. I'm sorry, let me clarify, $12.89 per home per month. Excuse me, let me clarify that. 3% would be 39 cent increase per month per home. So that would take it to $13.28. And that's, otherwise, all other terms and conditions of the contract that we had signed from before, which City of Williston had put in place based on your RFP, we are absolutely fine with keeping.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Miller. We'll now open it up to the council. Any comments from the council? Your Honor.
My comments about this is that it follows up with, item C. If the city is going to send out RFPs for collection of solid waste, then, then we need to wait and get their, RFP in with anybody else that might send it to the city. And I don't think that that really needs to be addressed at this time until the council decides if they're going to send out an RFP, and then look at the RFPs to see.
Okay.
Just my thought.
Understood.
I agree with that.
Okay.
We should have the RFPs.
Okay. And what Waste Pro is asking is, at the time that we needed an extension, we at that time suggested to them that we would negotiate with them for a return of the existing contract. Doesn't mean we have to accept it, but we did at that time say we will talk to you about renegotiating the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question now becomes, are we doing the honorable thing? I believe that we can renegotiate the existing contract to better terms than what is currently being offered, or that doesn't mean we have to accept any offer, but we did say we would give them the opportunity to renegotiate. So what I had hoped we would be considering is to continue forward down the RFP. Let's discuss the proposal, see if the proposal is just so out of whack that we're not interested in pursuing that proposal, or do we want to say, look, this proposal isn't acceptable. What do you think about making a different proposal? And then we need to come to what the terms are for the different proposal, which I would suggest to you is, one, we should not be agreeing to a CPI increase. Shouldn't be happening. Because even though traditionally CPIs are this, X, Y, and Z, they can be hugely different. And when you agree to a CPI increase, what you're agreeing to is the CPI is not going to increase any worse than what we're expecting. And I am not comfortable with doing that with the citizens' money. Item 2 is, I think that 3% increase is a little much. That's my opinion. Fuel costs have went down. Their costs, there's two tenets to this cost. One is, the fact is that there's more garbage out there because we're all trapped at home. That's unquestionable to me. There's more garbage out there. However, fuel costs are lower. And it seems to me that there's some room here for negotiation on 3%. I think 3% is too high. Now, what Waste Pro is asking us is, will we continue with the negotiation, or are we just going to say the negotiations are over, we're send your RFP like everybody else? That's really what's being asked here, Your Honor.
I don't think we should continue with the negotiations, because if you continue with the negotiations and you send out RFPs, then whoever may want to consider sending an RFP, they're going to be looking at what they have for what the council wants to negotiate with Waste Pro, and I don't think that it would be good for the other people who might want to send in an RFP. However, with that said, I agree with the CPI that we should not even consider that, and also that the 3%, it should be 0% because the gas mileage has gone down, and there is no tipping fees at the county right now. So, but with that, I would not be in favor myself of going ahead with negotiations. Let them provide their RFP along with the others, and let's take a look at it, and then we can negotiate from that point.
Okay. Anybody else?
I had the same feeling that you did,
Okay.
that we would negotiate with them, that they were to bring us back a proposal and we would negotiate with them. I was surprised to see the RFP on the agenda. And I have spoken to them about it and the fact that it got here and how it got here. But I think that we at least owe it to them to go one more round with them. Because we essentially said our contract is expiring. They could have just kept on doing what they were doing. Instead, they gave us 6 months and gave us time to do an RFP. They didn't have to do that. Obviously, they didn't think we were going to do that. And I think we owe it to them to at least try to come to an agreement with them. I don't think 39 cents is too much. I do think the CPI is a bad idea.
Excuse me, we did not give them 6 months. They took that length of time because of the COVID. That was what they said. We need more time to negotiate because of the COVID.
I'm confused.
I don't remember that.
I'm not
It
saying
could
you're
be.
wrong,
I'm not saying you're wrong either.
I'm confused.
They asked for an extension because
They asked
we
for
asked
an
for an
extension.
extension.
because of the COVID.
No, because we let it almost expire.
Yeah, my understanding,
It expired in June
and the
30th.
city manager can expound on this. My understanding
What
was,
happened, we found out that I got here June 1st, and we found out, the mayor told me he was gonna look at it, and the contract expired July 31st. Of course, I can't negotiate contracts, the city attorney contacted Ms. Miller, and they extended it from July 31st to September 30th.
yeah, it was not their request.
It was our request.
It was our request.
Right.
Okay.
But was there any preconditions for them extending it to that type, to that
Absolutely
day?
not.
In the meeting, there was insinuation, I would say.
I'm asking the ICM, was there anything, preconditioned on that extension?
That's negotiated with the city manager, city attorney.
I could say that there was no negotiation as to specific terms or conditions. Ms. Miller is aware that it's regular practice for anyone coming up on the termination of a contract to submit a proposal for renewal before it goes out to the marketplace. Ms. Miller and I did have that conversation back in June. And I had this conversation with interim, or actually manager chief Stroke.
Yes.
And so Waste Pro was fine with proposing an extension, and I think that we knew that they would likely make a proposal because, again, that is routine in the marketplace, or prior to going to the marketplace.
But with no condition that we would renegotiate or give them an opportunity to negotiate.
Well, we have to give an opportunity.
No, I know,
I mean,
yeah, that I understand, but as a condition for that extension.
There was no specific wording or comments made to where they were precluded, because it's obvious that they can always make an offer. and the board will give it as much consideration as they feel it is due.
And when she was here in our meeting, we told her to bring this back to us. She didn't just bring this to us for no reason. We told her to bring this to us. So and that was, in my opinion, an insinuation that we wanted to negotiate with her.
Mr. Copeland, is there any problem outside of the mayor's reasonable concern? Is there any problem with continuing negotiations with the current vendor while we begin the process of an RFP?
There's no legal problem. It does, it benefits the marketplace to hear what the current vendor is proposing, so that they know where the somewhat of a gray area is that they need to come in under. So it disadvantages the current vendor.
Disadvantages the current vendor.
That's correct.
And the current vendor is interested in doing this, so there's no reason not to do it if they choose to do this.
There's no reason to not listen to anyone, obviously.
Okay. So my position is the same as it was when we started this, that being a person that believes strongly in this stuff, I believe that we should continue negotiation. Ms. Miller, I will tell you, you will lose me if this is the best that Waste Pro can offer. So we need to continue a discussion, and hopefully we can come to an agreement. And what I'm hearing from the attorney, unless he corrects me again, is that we are interested in renegotiating with you because you have helped us. However, we are not willing to accept the terms that you have produced, and you need to come up with a better offer if you want to keep the business.
Well, I understand, and I respect that, and I will be happy to go back to the powers that be, to the drawing board, and see what we can come up with.
That's best you can do.
Again, this was the initial proposal that we were offering, and, you know, we knew that it may not be accepted, but, you know, we had to get the ball rolling. I do want to clarify that in how we got to the extension, if I could take it back to your previous city manager, at some point, and I don't know the date, but at some point after COVID hit, your previous city manager did ask us to hang on and sit tight and wait, because there were other pressing issues that the council was dealing with. Now, I did not ask what those were, it wasn't any of my business. So that's kind of how it started, as to where we got to the point where your interim city manager got there in June and said, hey, what, you know, we have a contract coming up. So, with these unusual circumstances, that's how we got to an extension. And the extension is a 3-month extension to the end of September, and just is completely separate from this renewal proposal. You know, it was purely to allow everyone, not just Waste Pro, but y'all, enough time to make educated decisions and to have a discussion like we're all having right now, today. So I really appreciate the fact that we both agreed to the extension. And again, President Goodman, I will go back and see if we can work on anything, and then come back to the council, preferably in person, at your next council meeting.
Okay. Anybody else? Your Honor.
Yeah, I was just warning in the meantime, if Ms. Miller goes back to the powers to be and comes up with a different proposal, would the council approve it coming either to the ICM or to the utilities manager, so that he could, or one or the other could bring it to the attention of the council before the next council meeting?
I'm not sure what you just said, sir.
You mean instead of giving it to the city clerk?
Yeah, well, we're in the negotiation stage right now. Is what y'all agreed to, correct?
Correct.
So if she comes back with another proposal, have her go through the ICM. Or,
She can't go through the ICM.
I'm just asking, because
Yeah.
he can't negotiate.
Right. She can't, he can't negotiate, so she can't go to him.
Why can't she produce the proposal to him?
Well, she could do that to anybody. If we're talking negotiations, that's
Well, I was just saying, that if she got that and she went through the ICM, then he could spread it out and give it to all the council members here with the next proposal that she had before the council meeting. It's just as easy as that.
I mean, it'll be in the agenda packet when it comes.
Yeah. I see no
And
need
we can't do
to-
anything with it before then anyway.
If due to legal matters, the city manager cannot negotiate,
I know
then
that.
I see no reason to get him involved in it at all at this point. We just continue down our path and let them see if they come to a proposal that we can accept or not.
So, if they do come to a proposal that you can accept, are you going to accept that proposal and not send out an RFP, or are you going to, give Mr. Zemetzky an opportunity to see if you want to send out an RFP?
That is an excellent question, which I happen to ask legal counsel. And legal counsel informed me that he's right there ready to correct me if I'm wrong. So he's informed me that we can start the RFP process, but we can stop it at any point we choose.
Okay.
Is that an accurate representation of what you said, sir?
That's correct, sir.
So we don't have to not do the RFP in order to continue to negotiate. That was my point. Councilor, Vice President Head.
My concern with that has been stated by others, but if we continue to negotiate openly in these meetings and then put out an RFP, it's a disadvantage to the current vendor, I feel like.
And they're willing to take that risk?
I think it's very unfair.
I have to ask this question because I don't see it other than at my house. No citizen has ever said anything to me about, are we satisfied with the company, the vendor that we're currently using?
Was that a statement, a question, or what?
A question, I mean,
And
how do I
have had-
decide if I want to just renegotiate with that vendor and keep them if I don't know if we're happy with them or not? I think somebody on staff has to know or has to give a report as to where we stand with the current
Okay.
vendor.
I can tell you that I have had multiple people very unhappy.
I have too.
Multiple people, not just one or two, multiple people. On the other hand, these are difficult times. I'm not sure multiple people aren't unhappy with us. You know, this is a period of impossible things. And this company is being faced with the impossible in trying to satisfy customers. I have very limited, how can I say this so it's nice? I have very limited sympathy for a corporation like Waste Pro to tell me that the reason that we can't perform our job is because of COVID-19, when restaurants and places all around the country is spending huge amount of money because of COVID-19 and having to do it. So I have sympathy, but it's very limited. So in answer to your question, since you asked it, there have been people that are unhappy with Waste Pro. The question really that needs to be asked is, would they be happy with anybody? Because everybody's unhappy right now. And I can't answer that. It's a decision that we just have to make. Your Honor, go ahead.
And I agree with you somewhat because of the times here. However, there have been many complaints regarding Waste Pro prior to this COVID outbreak at all. People, they're not picking up the garbage, they're not picking up the dumpsters or whatnot, and if I'm not mistaken, there was some complaints that was sent out here probably last week from the ICM, from different people.
You need the city managers, because this ICM is driving me nuts. Is that what you're talking about, city manager?
Right now, he is the ICM, he will be my police chief shortly.
Frankly, I think of ICM as,
It's not a
installation.
missile, it's not a missile or anything like that.
Okay.
But there have been many complaints prior to this COVID outbreak, and if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, if they're not documented, they should have been documented, all these complaints prior to the COVID.
The only ones I've had have been in the last month.
Yes, and the last month is the only ones that I've had.
And
I got several before March here, especially from the commercials about the dumpsters, and I've had several people.
Did you document them, sir?
Oh, of course not.
the only dumpster I'm aware of that we got a complaint about was one that was moved to a different location and they didn't know it was there. Of course, they may have moved it.
But the issue before us is whether it's really two things. Are we going to continue to discuss with Waste Pros? That's the first thing on our agenda. Are we going to continue to discuss? And the second thing is, if we're going to continue to discuss, what method are we going to use? I keep hearing a voice.
Just an interference of some kind.
Okay.
Someone is calling.
So, those are the questions I see that we need to answer.
CJ.
My feelings are that we need to continue to discuss with Waste Pro. And if we don't make, and we also need to tell Mr. Zamowski to go ahead and start the RFP process. Maybe it will incentivize Waste Pro to move ahead with giving us because change is difficult. And if we can find a common ground that serves the citizens, I'm all for it. So, my feelings is very simple. We should continue this process with Waste Pros in good faith. And then the second thing is we cover the proper things by going ahead with an RFP process. What have we lost? That's what I'm trying to see. What have we lost?
Comment, and then CJ has a comment.
Pardon me?
I have a comment, and then CJ has a comment.
Okay, you're next.
I think that it's not good form to negotiate with somebody and put out an RFP at the same time.
Okay.
I don't
That's
think that's
reasonable.
fair at all. I think we can wait 2 weeks and see what they come back with.
Okay.
And it's only 2 weeks till our next meeting. If we can't wait 2 weeks, we can do the RFP. I know it's got time. I think it has time constraints. I don't know exactly what they are. I'm sure he'll tell us.
You got the floor.
Okay, I just had to
You
say,
done?
I don't think it's fair to do both at the same
And I
time.
understand, and I had that same concern until I talked to the legal counsel, and then I had less concern. CJ?
I was just gonna add to that, and I'd like City Attorney Coberlin to correct me if I'm wrong, but if that is the concern, you issue the RFP, it should be no different than the electric, where a person is designated by the council to do that portion of the negotiation, or at least a comparison. If it is that, and they declare it proprietary and confidential, then only that person sees it at that point in time. So it does not go to the council. If they continue to bring it and put it on the agenda, it's public record.
Did everybody understand what he said?
So you could issue the RFP. What I'm cautioning against, if you do not issue the RFP, you will not have time within that extension. You'll be out of a provider. There is not enough time to wait another 2 weeks, do the advertisement and the negotiations, all that. It is a very strict timeline.
I don't think it's fair.
Well, it's not fair. Life's not fair.
And I know it's something we may can legally do.
Yeah.
I don't think it's what we told her we were gonna do when she was here.
But, and I agree with you, but nonetheless, we do have a responsibility to the citizens to get them covered. And
We do have them
if
covered.
we start negotiating,
No matter
like
what.
CJ is telling us, if we start negotiating and then the negotiations fall through, it's too late. That's what I think I heard him say.
That is correct.
That is what I heard him say, but like I said before, I don't think 39 cents is a lot. I do have a problem with the CPI.
And that's negotiation.
But I think it's very simple that they can bring that back to us.
Well, they can,
They
but
can.
time is the issue.
I think rather than not opening hers, or having someone see hers in public, which we have already done, which is another issue.
Yes.
We should keep the others unopened until they're not satisfied with hers.
I don't, now you're getting into a legal hole that I'm not touching.
That would, I think that would be unfair in the other direction.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't-
beyond this point, if Waste Pro is going to renegotiate,
You're not
better or
gonna- you're not
worse,
gonna give
whatever
them time to.
case may be, they would have to. They have the same timeline as anybody that the RFP is issued to at this point. What
Yeah.
I'm stating is by the council the contract not being sent, or the offer not being sent to the council immediately, but sent to one person, and it declared proprietary and confidential, none of the other vendors see what Waste Pro is providing, so it is more fair than what this is.
But you're also right back to telling them that they need to respond to the RFP. You're essentially telling them that.
What I'm basically hearing is stop negotiating, put out an RFP.
That's
and
what
they
I'm
can
hearing. You're
respond
right
like
back,
everybody else does.
right back to where you started to begin with.
You
which
would
we
be
said we didn't wanna
negotiating
do.
with them and anybody that proposes with the RFP.
The only difference would be, we've already basically said to them, what you have initially proposed is not good enough, so you sharpen that pencil when you respond to the RFP.
That's about what they're back down to. Which
I
is what we
heard-
said we didn't wanna do to begin with.
Hang on.
I
Now we're back
heard
up to
Ms.
it.
Miller on the phone or whatever, I mean,
Hang on, Dan. Get to you.
I appreciate the existing vendor, given the time frame that CJ has told us about and the issues that we have. I would probably recommend we stop negotiating and put up an RFP. I don't know how, especially if there's a chance that we're gonna keep negotiating, miss the window for the RFP and not come up with a deal that we're happy with the current vendor.
Okay? Go to the phones.
Okay, Danny, you should be on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few things that I heard that
Who is this?
I'd like to address. It's Dana Miller.
I knew it, but it's the record. I have to do it for the record.
For the record. For the record. It sounds like there's number one, it sounds like there's a concern that if I come back in 2 weeks and the council does not like our proposal and decides to go out for an RFP, that there won't be enough time. I'm willing to say right now, if that is the biggest concern, that I am fairly certain that Waste Pro would be willing to extend another month or two to alleviate that concern. Number two, I have never negotiated a renewal at the same time that an RFP was out. It doesn't, it's not beneficial to us as the current vendor to do that. If the council decides that they want to do an RFP, there's no problem that you've created the document of the RFP and have it waiting in hand. But if you're going to publish it, I will go back and ask the powers that be, but I'm fairly certain that I will be told that we will stop our renewal negotiations because at that point, you've already made a decision. I can't negotiate a renewal at the same time that you've got other vendors now going to be putting in pricing. I would rather see the opportunity for me to come back one more time, and give a month or two extension to alleviate that concern. And then if y'all want to make your final decision at the next meeting, understood completely.
How certain are you can get that extension?
100%.
100%, a large number.
Yeah, I can, yes, I can give you an extension, yes.
Okay. So what you're saying is that we are no longer,
Excuse me.
pardon me, we are no longer under a contract deadline.
Actually, correct. What you're now is really you're kind of in a month-to-month type situation. You know, we already agreed to the 3 months. You know, so we're still running under the terms and conditions of the previous contract. We're just kind of doing a month-by-month extension as needed.
It seems to me that I heard that you have another municipality that has been on a month-to-month service for some time?
Well, not anymore. We finally came to, they finally made their decision. There was some politics involved that has nothing to do with Waste Pro, but there is another town in Levy County that went month-to-month for almost 2 years. And just recently, in the last couple months, came to a final decision on a contract. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's not something we're not familiar with. Your legal counsel also is legal counsel for other cities that we service.
He is.
So he's familiar with that.
So he's moonlighting.
I wasn't able to hear what Mr. Coberline was saying earlier, so if there was anything I should have responded to, I apologize. He's the only one that I'm not able to hear real well. And if it's possible, I don't know who's running your go-to meeting, but caller number 2 is our division manager, Trip Lancaster. If there's any way to unmute him, if you'll allow him to, I'd like him to maybe address some of the service issues that were brought up.
Okay, since he is on, are you finished at this time?
I am, sir, thank you.
Okay, since you are on the phone, I have not forgotten you, but since they're on the phone, I'm going to allow this. So, Mr. Tripp, you got the floor, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Evans. Yes, sir, Mr. Council President, I'm here, and I do want to say that I understand your feelings about the COVID situation, but it's certainly very real with what we're dealing with right now. I had 4 helpers not show up this morning because friends and relatives, spouses have tested positive, and the health department wouldn't let them come to work. It's a day-to-day issue with us on staffing, because we don't know with this situation. It's nothing that, I've gone through 20 different guys on the back of the truck purely because of COVID in the last 3 weeks. It's been very difficult to deal with. So as far as service issues, I'm personally involved with trying to get them corrected as quickly as possible. I know we've had some commercial dumpsters issues that the mayor referenced earlier, but he did contact me, and I believe we got them worked out relatively quickly. A lot of the problems, simple access to the dumpsters. We do run into quite a bit of places where people tend to park in front of the dumpsters, and they complain when we can't pick them up. So there's different situations like that. I'm in contact with city staff every single day. I talk with the 3 ladies that are up front, and we do try to work together to get these things figured out as quickly as possible. So that is my goal, to fix these problems, and we are going to do it.
Did we lose him, Aaron?
He's still here.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Okay.
So, And my apologies for not attending tonight. I have my own city council meeting I had to attend to in Granite Springs.
I understand.
I will be able to attend in 2 weeks. So, any questions for me, I'm happy to try to work and answer them the best I can.
All right, anybody have any questions for Mr. Tripp? No?
No.
So council, what are we gonna do? I say, in view of the fact that we do not have this timeline crisis that I have been led to believe, that we see if, I'm not for letting this go on forever, but I do believe that we should at least give them an opportunity to make another pass at this thing. That's my opinion. Anybody else?
I agree. I think we essentially.
Councilor Robinson.
I agree.
Vice President Head.
By making another pass at it, you're basically saying,
We're negotiating.
bring back another offer with an extension, or
No,
just to.
the extension is a non-issue. Bring back another offer. A better
Next
offer.
meeting.
Next meeting.
meeting to decide.
Correct.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll go with that.
Let me just finish by
Yes,
saying,
sir.
I really can't split hairs over 39 cents either. It's more about the service provided and making sure that all that's
Yeah.
taken care of. I understand the issues that Mr. Lancaster brought up about the drivers and staffing with COVID. I know it's been a day-to-day thing, so the complaints I saw were recent, so I know that's all been part of that. I don't know about before.
Where did the number 39 cents come from? 'Cause I,
3%, it's 39 cents
3% increase
oh, okay.
per resident.
Per month.
3%.
Of $12.89, which is what you pay every month,
Uh-huh.
is 39 cents.
Goes to 39 cents. That's high math. I'm not sure I'm capable of that. Okay, I just, I knew the number came, but I didn't.
I'm willing to wait till the next meeting.
Okay,
See
so
what
we're
they bring
going to
back.
continue with the negotiation. Is that what I've heard from the council?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, would you like to have any more further comment on the matter?
Other than I disagree.
All right, sir. Moving ahead. Dana, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Did
Still
you,
here.
did you hear everything?
I did, yes.
Okay.
So
The ball's in your court.
all right, so for clarification, I'm being instructed to come back at the next meeting with, a new and different renewal proposal.
Correct. Or you can come
okay.
back at the next meeting and say, this is the best we're gonna do, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure, right, whatever I end up coming back with. And as part of this, am I understanding you would like to add 2 more months onto the extension?
Yes.
Okay, so that will
If
take us
you're
to.
not if not adding 2 months on the extension, all bets are off. We're gonna go ahead with the RFP.
Or just a month
Gotcha,
to month.
okay.
Can you do just a month to month? Instead of actually saying 2 months?
Yeah, I suppose, sure. So right now, we'll just say instead of end of September, end of October?
Yes, we'll start with that, and if we
Okay.
need more than that, we'll discuss it.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear, make sure I knew what I was expected. Okay,
Yes,
we
sir.
can do that.
Mr. Coberline.
Mr. Copeland.
Can we get the extension by August 11th? Can we get the document from them?
Did you hear this, Dana?
No, it needs to use the
I
mic.
cannot hear
I
what
really
you're doing.
cannot. Let me
Use your
speak loudly
microphone.
for him.
Fred.
He wants to know if we can get the word terms to the extension by by August 11th.
Oh, yeah, could you ask him like a short-term,
Yes, yes,
addendum?
that's what he's asking.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we can draw something up, sure.
Okay, you'll get that. I have somebody who has been patiently waiting. Please come to the microphone and state your name. Thank you, Dana. You can go back to bed.
I hope you feel
Thank you,
better.
sir. Thank you,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Yes, I'm Joel Penny, I live at 43 Northwest 4th Street.
Speak to the microphone so the record can get you.
I'm Joel Penny, I live at 43 Northwest 4th Street.
It may not be on.
It's not turned on.
I'm Joel Penny, I live 43 Northwest 4th Street. When I first moved here, I guess CJ, we had regular city garbage pickup, just local, and I had no, it was great. It was always great. I mean, this should be a time where we can go out right now. This should be an opportunity for the city of Williston to go out and purchase a new garbage truck and just do local routes for the city. Because whatever the city makes is profit right now. I mean, if it's free to dump and stuff, I mean, y'all don't have to charge it anymore. I mean, it'll bring revenue into the city of Williston. I mean, y'all gotta start.
You know how much a garbage truck costs?
Yeah, we got to.
About 550,000, but.
Yeah.
Well, a used one.
That old, you can get for 100.
Well, no, let him speak, please quit interrupting.
Because just say that the 39 cent per house, say we have 6,000 houses, that's $30,000 a year.
Okay?
I mean, that adds up. Yeah,
We
28,000.
might have 1,200.
Well, I'm just
Please quit interrupting.
giving it, I'm just saying. I mean, it's just money that, it's just, y'all keep adding on to our bills and bills and bills. Why don't we go back to where we were at when I first moved here? We're like, we had the old workers and, you know, everybody was friendly. Like, Waste Pros, I've had nothing but complaints with them. I've called up here every 2 weeks. They ain't picked up my trash. I still got, I mean, you can ask the people at the front desk. I call up here every 2 weeks about Waste Pro complaining. So, I'm just saying.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My computers went to sleep on me.
Council President,
I too, about
Yes,
3 times.
I heard a voice.
can I ask for a break, please?
Thank you so much, Latricia.
Thank you.
If you don't ask for it, I'm gonna beg for it.
It's 10 till
10 till what?
9.
That's all?
We'll be back at 9.
It feels like it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, it is 10 minutes. It is 8:46. We will take a break until 9 o'clock. That is, ever how many minutes that is? 14? Oh. What's up? I know, I've been thinking, how can I get out of here? Turn off your microphone if you don't want to say something inappropriate about the interim, about the city manager. I have no idea how that Senator, I have no recollection of how that got there. We're gonna have to do a forensic analysis.
Yeah, I know it is. I just inherited this. He's got, he showed me, he's got the insurance, so I'll, what we need. Thank you.
I better wait.
Duration of time I do.
Less than a month.
Did
you get another one?
He's like, he's already in the carpet for you.
Yeah, I don't care about those things are more dangerous than short wheelbase. No, tires are bigger, you get more dash cam.
But.
That's what I got. The handhelds, the VHL. Yeah, we're gonna work on it before. That's why I told her to put mine in the office, I used practice time. When we, so you had two mics, so we had a microphone that worked like this. Or wood. It's like, you can't hear your kids, they're talking about the same thing, you can't hear two mics, so they don't have a whole bag, we're gonna get UHF and VHF. So now I'm trying to find more UHFs that will do lapel mics, but be on different frequencies. We'll add more and get rid of these, so they don't have to talk directly. I didn't think anybody would ever solve the problem. Well, it's not difficult, it's just, you gotta back up and regroup when you start with. You get my phone charger, when you start with one answer and it ain't the right answer, and then nobody knows where to go from there. You know, it took some thinking, and of course then they threw this COVID thing, and social distancing, overflow into there, that got thrown in the mix, and, you know, the first couple go around, I mean, I got this day, oh, hey, you got the TV up in there? What do you mean? And then we get to go. Oh, we got this overflow in there. I said, what do you mean? I ain't got no way of doing that. We scrambled around, found what we had, made it work, that's all I did. It sucked for 2 or 3 meetings, so we finally had to run some wiring, and so really what I've got is this PA actually now feeds over into that room, and the speakers on the ceiling over there. So when you hear the mics over here, you hear them over there. That feed on that TV is actually coming from the security camera on the wall. It's a little bit delayed, but only like a half a second or so from the audio, so it's the best I can do. So now that one is the one doing the YouTube feed. This camera does the GoToMeeting. So we're actually putting it out on YouTube live, and
You like GoToMeeting better than Zoom?
doesn't really matter, they all work the same. The difference is the controls that you have on the back end running the meeting. And there's no great answer, because they all have their own position. They're not, no one of them, I don't think, in my own opinion, is any better than the other. At least GoToMeeting does give me the ability to mute mics, that's the problem we have here. If people dial in on the phones, and they're standing there, they don't mute their mic on the phone, they're standing there talking, coughing, and eating ham sandwich, and you got here. You know, they don't realize that they're transmitting their sound, you know. Or drinking beer, or yelling at their kid, or, you know.
Television now, and all those spots are put in.
Right. So I put my headset on and change the audio to go here, so I can hear it. And if someone wants to speak, they have to speak up, tell me. So that's pretty good. Yeah, it happens. I mean, it's just kind of a downfall of society, you know. Well, they had a bad job when they first did it. They basically trying to do it themselves. Hey, Dave, everybody's laptop connected. Well, I have now, you've got 8 laptops running on the same wireless network, which is substandard as it is anyway. And you just couldn't do it. Okay. Well, we couldn't do it, you just demanded it. And I'm reading this case, and I'm actually hijacking my phone across the street. Yeah, for the public meetings like this, I'm actually stealing some batteries off of them. We're actually got. Good, sir, how you doing? And what we're gonna do is it's gonna go to the police department first. Because they have a man-way, it's really bad, it's right there on Front Street to the east. It has to go to a splice point where they have to put fibers to splice into. And we have switched, like CB Insurance had, their splice point, they just put that in, splice point right there. There's nothing over on this side. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good. We're gonna put it in there, we're gonna bring it, like, Sound PD and fire department, they want it. That guy's at work, we actually went down to the side.
No, I feel like that was
Oh, yeah. It's not more people, it's way more than I was reading. Say we could have that.
And the guest house.
And you get to know it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let us know if you need a roller.
You'll crack it up.
Yeah, I'll take care of it, don't worry about it. Well, I'll get him to go to the jail. Are you, can't wait to take her. I do have strong shoulders, so not recover too much. You know,
I put Lynn down all the time, they want to pick her up.
I'm dinner for me. Yes, and I made dinner for me a couple months ago. That's okay. Well, I'll go in and then I even do stuff I can do. That's the first thing I got to there.
I can tell my wife that if her home is on, I do this. You know, yeah, doing good. Yeah. I'm trying to get back to the board. Even before I Social distancing. Social distancing, please. They had a big one. Thank you.
Close enough. 6 foot doesn't work, and they don't know that.
6 foot don't work anyway.
And the thing is, in this room, central AC, and that's the entire room is covered with this.
Just like these things, they're useless anyway.
You ever done drywall one of those on? I use it for all the black walk on the black side. It's so old. It's just all brown and stuff. It's not in there.
Yeah, it's all.
I got part of it out of my nose.
It's all pulled nose more than I mean.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I had it washed on 6 times. Twice in the same spot. The only two that hurt. That's right here between the two.
Sometimes you just take time to absorb and get the flavor.
I ain't pounding nothing yet.
Well, I'll just decide I get mine naked, I don't need a sauce. Should be on, disappointed.
Okay,
It's been 3 hours old.
I'm really hungry now, so.
I'm hungry too.
That means I'm gonna start hitting.
Let's go, dig, the whole thing. Yes, you did. There's like 8 of them. There's one standing in the back.
Oh, that kicked you a minute.
Look at that handful of paper.
Oh, 10 of a certain thing.
There's 40 of
Camera.
Taking 9 o'clock. It was, yeah. Down there, about killing.
325. That was, much better.
Yeah, there probably isn't nothing left. There's one silver.
I like it.
I got one.
Okay.
But you guys are out, that was enough like
All right. Oh, that's where he went.
You know, it's typical, nobody wants to eat the last one.
What is it?
There's
got one left.
Well,
Well, I thought they had the game on.
Hang on.
My side's boring, but everyone up there in the big seats, looking up at the TV, it was driving me nuts.
Which game?
Yeah, I don't know.
Looking for answers.
Bowling,
Huh?
bowling, I don't know.
No. I was just wondering what games were even around anymore.
Cornhole.
That's it. That's on all the restaurants.
That's a quick, cornhole.
Okay. It is now 9 o'clock. We're resuming the meeting as we had agreed upon. Moving ahead. Resolution 2020-38, a resolution approving the lease term extension between Tom Sumter and Sherry Sumter in the city of Williston, the property Lowe's.
I think it's a couple.
Yes,
That's E.
Yeah.
We're on D.
see.
Oh, sorry, C.
Yeah, it should be on the RFP.
Thank you, I'm so sorry.
You just skipped over me.
Resolution with possible action RFP, okay, I thought we had already dealt with that. Okay.
I mean, we table it.
Have a motion by Counselor Jones that we table, I gotta find it again.
Item C.
Item C, which is just for discussion. I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Counselor Jones, a second by Vice President Head. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any who are opposed signify by saying. Let the record show that all council members agreed to, I'll get it out here in a minute, to, tabling item C. Now we can go to, are you raising your hand, Your Honor?
No.
Oh, okay.
Aaron is,
Okay. I just,
I'm not your honor, but I'll take that.
I meant your imminent turn your.
Your microphones are all off, let you know.
We're gonna wait for you very
I
much.
think we all forgot.
This new world we're in, people online can't hear
Testing
you.
1, 2, 3, 4, I'm back on, okay. For those that we might have missed, we have decided to table item C, and we have moved.
So Tricia's got her hand up.
Concerning item C,
Yes,
we had discussed this,
I can't hear you.
can you hear me now? We had discussed this, and I was instructed to go ahead and submit it to the newspaper.
You saying you've already done this? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
That is what you're saying?
yes, and I just sent her an email to pull it. So,
When did you send it to the newspaper?
Friday,
Well,
after the meeting.
you can't unscramble, scramble it. Hopefully, you can have her pull it.
Okay, I just want everybody to be
Yeah.
aware.
It goes to press tomorrow.
It goes to press tonight, they're gonna try to go ahead and block it, I'll just help it.
You just talked to her?
I'm working with her now.
Okay, thank you.
And
Thank
what
you
we-
for letting us know.
What we're run up against is that if we didn't post the ad starting tomorrow because of the time constraint, it couldn't be done.
Right. Before this meeting, we did not have the other information.
Correct.
Okay, so we will move ahead. if it is there, this council has decided to continue negotiations, so if it is there, we might need to discuss with someone how we can print a retraction. Okay? Now we will move to item D unless somebody else has something else. Item D, Resolution 2020-38. This is a resolution approving the lease term extension between Tom Sumter and Sherry.
Item D. Ordinance.
You skipped me twice, boss.
I'm trying my best. That's what they get for stopping me.
It's not here. At least on mine, it's not here either. That's what's next on mine.
It was on the amended agenda that was sent.
I thought I had the amended agenda.
I thought I did too.
I do have the
Ordinance
amendment.
number 684.
684. First reading.
That's why it's not on my
What
paper.
is 684? Page
Let me see if I
50.
can find a piece of paper that has it.
How about, right up?
But I'm looking at my computer, I'm looking up there, unless I have to.
Is it Camellia?
No.
No. What is it?
An ordinance number 684.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. We are now moving to item D, an ordinance number 684. First reading, an ordinance of the city of Williston, Florida, providing for the permanent closing of all that portion of an easement as recorded in the official records book 312, page 103 of the public records of Levy County, finding that the closing of the easement will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, finding that the closing of the easement is in the best interest of the city, and for the general welfare of its citizens, providing for the repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for its severability, providing for inclusion into the city code. City Planner Gorman.
Yes, sir. I put on the dais paper that looks like this.
Yep.
That's the
Okay.
first time I saw it.
The front page is giving you the location of where this is. The second page gives you a description of the property. You'll see a yellow area that says easement to be released, that's crosshatched. Now, if you go back to the top page, you'll see where the old railroad right-of-way used to exist. And if you look at the second page again, you'll see where a house encroaches into that easement.
Oh,
okay?
this one, okay.
Right. This isn't the only one we have, but this is the first one that we're gonna be bringing to you. But if you look at this, we're requesting that we vacate this yellow, but they're gonna give us an easement for the red hatch in the back, because there's a fire hydrant back there we discovered that didn't have an easement over it. So we have, this came about as the result of a sale, a property purchase, and the closing was predicated on this easement situation being resolved.
Okay.
So that is why you see Mr. McMillan here. He's representing the owners of the property, but tonight we're asking for a vacation of this easement, first reading. And if you have any questions,
Okay.
thank you.
Is everybody familiar with this?
No, but I can look at it. I mean, I can see it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a house.
Yeah.
We're not gonna tear the house down, so we've gotta do something. It's sitting in the middle of our easement. Yes, Your Honor.
The city owns that easement.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, how long is the easement? And how wide is it? I can't tell.
Yes, sir. It is, actually, hold on.
Your Honor,
Stephen,
turn your phone
we
on.
may ask you to jump in if there's no dimension on this.
20 foot wide.
20 foot wide by,
Where's the hole?
here. Does that help you? That's your drawing.
I can't see it. Solid.
Here's your application.
I see a 9.8 right there. It's 10.2 and 9.8, so that makes it 20. If you look right behind the house, you'll see those two measurements.
Hold on, I'm finding it for you.
How long is it?
I don't know, it looks pretty long.
There's your application there,
The issue is, we got a house sitting in the middle of the easement, we gotta deal with it.
I know,
Yeah, that's fine, but
But
it's
how
not
did it
on,
get there?
it's not on the whole easement. It's just on a portion of the easement.
That's correct, but there's nothing in that easement, it's not even necessary to have the easement.
Yeah, the utilities come in this way, and then there's actually a water line that way that we in the city, kind of playing both sides, I guess. The city does not have an easement here, and there's absolutely nothing in this, it doesn't go anywhere, it just stops here. So that's why we were just gonna get rid of the whole thing. Kind of a trade-off, instead of you guys just releasing it, and then we gain our dirt back, but they're also gonna give you a 15-footer up there on the existing water line.
So what I think the mayor is alluding to, that the city is giving more than they're receiving?
Usually the city gives, period, but
That-
they are
that
receiving
is-
something, but that isn't usually
Okay.
square footage.
I have no issue with it, but.
Yeah.
Was there an appraisal done on the rest of the property, the easement there, other than what's there on the house?
They already own the dirt, you only own the easement, the right to use, so there's no appraisal, there's no real value to it, I wouldn't think. Except for
So,
the house got.
Does the city have a history of giving away city property, city easements?
When they're not necessary, it's not something you would call surplus, it's not real estate.
We've given a road right away, road easements before.
Road right of way, now that's a little different, there you get into that's the dirt, that's fee simple ownership, that's where the appraisal would come in. But this is just eliminating an easement that never got used.
And you said that right up there at the top was something that we don't have?
The city have a water line running here and a fire hydrant right there.
Yeah.
With no easement, so we thought, CJ and I met out there a while ago, and, we thought, well, let's get our client to grant you guys an easement for your benefit, and then you guys get rid of this one for the house benefit.
So we have a fire hydrant there that no one knew existed?
CJ probably knew, but no one else probably.
You knew it existed?
Yes.
You knew we had a fire hydrant on someone's private property?
No, you got an easement on there. This easement goes up, we cut off only the part that's no good.
Thank you.
So,
They get plenty with it, right?
yeah, there's the hydrant, this easement, the rest of this orange easement is here. And it also goes to the northeast this way.
And we're gonna keep that part.
You're utilizing this, so the fire hydrant is covered under an easement.
Okay,
What you
it's under
didn't-
the other easement.
You didn't have this guy.
Okay.
So now you'll have kind of a swap out, get rid of that for us and we'll give you that one.
I have no problem with it.
Okay.
Me either.
Anybody have other questions about it?
Thank you.
Works for me, works for her too.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, this is the first reading of an ordinance. I've got to find my place again because I lost it. Do I see a hand flagging over there?
$20 to do that. Why do we do that? We're gonna clean up.
Oh, don't look on there because it's not on there. That's why I can't find it.
Here, you want to read this, Chris?
No, I'll let you read it. Or Mr. Copeland, would you read this ordinance, please?
You just did.
Okay. Any questions?
You read the title, so you're good.
I read.
He read the whole ordinance.
The whole thing.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve ordinance number 684.
Second.
I have a motion to approve, I can't read the ordinance number up there.
684.
684, thank you. I have a motion by Vice President Head to approve ordinance number 2020-684 on first reading, and I had a second by Councilor Robinson, correct? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any who are opposed signify the same. Let the record show that all 5 members of the council approved ordinance 684, first reading. And now I'm going to try to transpose these. This is no longer item D, it's now item C, right? Resolution 2020-38?
No, now you're on E.
Now I'm on E, okay, I'm going the other way.
No, I did say D is now E.
Yes, item E. Resolution 2020-38, a resolution approving the lease term extension between Tom Sumter and Sherry Sumter and the city of Williston for property at the airport and identified as Hardstand and 16, authorizing the city council president to execute the extension and approving an effective date. Mr. Stegall.
Yes, sir.
Is your thing you're bringing for the council?
I understand. So this particular resolution is being brought before the council to extend a lease that is currently in place. It's on Hardstand 16, which has a hangar on it, which is...
Area 51?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Huh?
Area 51.
Are we talking about?
No, not the Area 51. It's a common name around the airport.
It's a name for those in the know.
Yes.
Okay.
So, on paper, it's Hardstand 16.
Okay.
The hangar is owned by Shadow Trailers. And with the passing of Mr. Pruitt, the family and the company was trying to sell off the hangar and the plane inside of it, and we discovered that they don't have an extension for a lease dating back to, or even an assumption of lease for Shadow Trailers. So, Ms. Verdi and I got with Mr. Coverline to make sure that we did this the right way the first time.
Good.
And this is the extension for Ms. Sherry's lease, which would be followed by the assignment in the next resolution to Shadow Trailers.
Everybody understand what this is about? Anybody have any questions?
My only question is, do we need to remove Mr. Sumter's name? Because he is not with us any longer.
No, ma'am, because the original lease reads as Tom and Sherry Sumter as husband and wife.
I know, but it asked him to sign it, if I remember right.
Mr. Coverline.
Isn't there a signature block on here? Pretty sure there, yes, there is a signature block on here, which he cannot sign.
However, most times the wife has full authority to sign for the husband, Mr. Crowley.
Mr. Sumter will be removed. I learned of his passing this evening.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have a resolution that needs to be passed with
Sherry. Just with Sherry
with
Sumter.
a change.
Yes, we
Yes.
will amend the documentation.
Everybody understand what we are talking about here? Do I have a motion?
If I can get back to the name of it.
Yeah, and I've got to get back to the number, I think it's E these days.
I move that we approve resolution 2020-38. A resolution, do you want me to read it?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
We have a motion by Councilor Robinson. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilor Jones. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any who are opposed signify the same. Let the record show that all members of the council have agreed to this motion. Now we will move to F, which is Resolution 2020-39. This is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the assignment and assumption of lease agreement between, it says Tom Sumter, that will be amended, and Sherry Sumter, and Shadow Trailers LLC, authorizing the City Council President to execute the instrument and providing an effective date. I think we've already discussed this.
I'll move resolution 2020-039.
With the change.
With the amendment.
Second. Have a motion to approve resolution 2020-39 with the corrected changes by Councilor Jones, and it was seconded by Vice President Head. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any who are opposed signify the same. Let the record show it was unanimous approval of resolution 2020-39. Resolution 2020-40, this is item G in the amended. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the lease term extension request of, is this another one of those?
Not quite the same.
Okay.
This is for a different hard stand.
Extension request of Tom Sumter and Sherry Sumter for property identified as Hard Stand 5 at the Williston Municipal Airport, authorizing the City Council President to execute the instrument and providing an effective date. What is this about?
Quonset hut?
Yes, ma'am. This particular resolution is, as I was speaking to Ms. Sumter about the prior resolution, she asked if we could just go ahead and extend her other hard stand number 5, to its max term, so she didn't have to worry about it anymore. So that's what this is. It's just an extension.
But we're extending Tom and Sherry?
We'll have to amend that too.
That's what I was asking, and you said it was different. That's not
It's a different
It's
location.
just a different location.
But the same issue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yes, sir.
Was it the different issue? Okay. This is 2020-40?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we accept, resolution 2020-40.
I have a motion by
Second.
Councilor Ross.
Second over here.
I have a second by Councilor Jones. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any who are opposed signify the same. Let the record show that resolution 2020-40 was approved unanimously by the council. Item G. F, whatever it is. What is it now?
H.
It's H.
Yes, sir.
Resolution 2020-41, a resolution of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the lease term extension between Dennis Mollman and the City of Williston for property at the airport and identified as Hard Stand 2 and Hard Stand 3, authorizing the City Council President to execute the extension and providing for an effective date. Yes, sir.
So this particular resolution is for hard stands 2 and 3. They are 2 hangars. One is privately owned and one is owned by the city. These extensions are being requested on behalf of the company occupying those 2 hangars, which is Revolution Aviation, formerly known as Team Tango.
And the old sheriff's hangar, right?
The old sheriff's hangar, yes, ma'am.
And the other, yeah.
I know you know everything about the airport. What are you talking about?
That's the location where Team Tango used to be and the sheriff's hangar. The big hangar at the end, that's the one we own.
Okay.
I'll take you on a tour one day. Can't do it. Somebody else have to take him on a tour.
Absolutely.
I have been,
And I would
every
advise
time
anyone
I've
to
been out there to meet you, it's been because of a crisis.
We'll come and break that cycle.
Yeah. Okay, so this is resolution 2020-41. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2020-41.
I have a motion by Vice President Head. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have 2 seconds, one by Councilor Jones and one by Councilor Ross. All those in favor of approving resolution 2020-41 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any who are opposed signify the same. Resolution 2020-41 is approved unanimously. Item number 6, public participation. Has any member of the public survived this meeting to this point? Hearing none. Item 7.
Mr. Schmidt's right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were shaking your head no, that no one survived. Yes, sir. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Bob Schmidt. First, I'd like to say thank you to the council and to the city for all the help they've given me over the last 6 years on various projects. Does that help a little bit?
Yes.
I'd like to clarify one thing, which a lot of you do know, and it's just stuff going around town. I have never charged anyone in the city for anything I've ever done, whether it's city, business, person, whatsoever. It does not matter to me who anyone is. I don't look at it that way. I've done everything because I feel like I need to do something for the city. I have not had a job since January, so I have a lot of spare time to fill in, so I've been doing things that physically and on promise of it made in my family I should not be doing, like across at Block 12, but I was asked by a city employee, which is fine with me. I have no issues with who asked me to do anything. And I've gone about as far as I can go with Block 12. I've done every business over there. It doesn't matter who the owner was or if I was asked to do it. I can do a slight more cleanup. I was told that the city would take care of the power poles, power lines, etc., because I have a high incidence of being shocked by any electrical force, static or otherwise. So I do not care to be playing around with that on one of the matters. If there are other projects the city would like for me to do or whatsoever, except for maybe the garbage, my wife told me I'm not allowed to because of the virus and other issues with that. And I think this town, as far as the code enforcement, there's no demeanor in this or anything. It's just observations from being on the board and also being a party of cleaning up for the board. It's given me a little bit more insight into some things that may assist the council and the boards in that area. As far as the fines for non-compliant properties, I think you take like a 1 mil off the county tax appraiser's value. I think that would eliminate disparities in how people are fined, because when I was on the board, there was no baseline on how to do it. I'm way now that I don't know people's wealth or income or any of that such, but I think the property value, since it's public record, may be a way to circumvent and address that issue. As far as amount of fines before the city forecloses, to me 50% of the assessed value should be a good point. That way there's not too much of a fine to sell a property based on whatever value it has, etc. It also eliminates a lot of the hassles with properties being on the list since 2014, things like that. I just think economics is the main driving force. Right now, things as far as residential, looks like it's really picking up in small areas. The larger developments have nothing ever done to them. I think they're just underfinanced, which I feel at the start of it all by just listening to the conversations people bring in. So I think we look at the economic standpoint, I think the city will be easier to clean and a far more appeasable manner for the population that lives here, because of 25% poverty rate, which is what I was told, and 75% of it's like medium income and less, or moderate income, I think was the term actually used. I think if we can utilize that information and that sense of well-being to the people that actually live here with us, I think we can accomplish more in an easier, more beneficial, equitable manner, if that makes sense. And again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Item 7, announcements. Councilor Ross.
No, sir.
Vice President Hitt.
No.
Your Honor. Latricia, do you have any announcements?
Yes, sir. Just a reminder, next Tuesday night, budget meeting, 5:00.
What did I do to you?
You had to remind us.
Next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday, August 11th, 5:00.
She just thought you were going.
What about the 18th? What happened about it?
August 18th, next council meeting,
7:00.
Oh, that's right. That was the, other issue. Okay. So, next Tuesday, 5:00,
5:00.
budget meeting. Any other bad news? I mean, good news?
Good news, I think we have a new city manager, Dennis Stroh,
Yes.
and a new HR person, Brooke Willis.
Yes.
And a new chief of police, right?
I hate to say this, we're keeping her.
We'll see.
You'll throw him under the bus, see ya.
I thought she was gonna apply for sure.
Oh, thank you very much. Mr. Copeland, somehow my humor is catching, have you noticed that?
I think his is catchy.
City Manager Strode.
You know, city manager, they make sure the city clerk does know what surprise much this. Good stuff for it.
Nothing else? Just threats?
That's it.
Oh, okay. Counselor Robbins, thank you. Counselor
No, thank you.
Jones.
I'm good.
And I certainly have nothing. This meeting is adjourned.
Yes, let me get my keys.
Get it? Allow me.